Travelers on the Omnibus occasionally touches on mature subject matter with mature language. As such, the audience discretion is advised.
Oh, I'm hosting it.
Yes!
You're horsing?
You're horsing.
I'm horsing.
Oh
this
my
week.
God, you're
Yes.
horsing.
Mm-hmm.
What's
I felt like
horse?
somebody should have been like, "Hey,
Horsing
Ethan,
is-
you're hosting this time." But then I was like, "No, Ethan remembers that he's hosting."
He's the rememberer.
Yeah,
He
except
have
for that
faith-
one time.
I
when
have faith in Ethan.
Except for that one time where he recanted the story that he told it to us on the podcast in the car. Hey,
Yeah.
guys, did I ever tell you that time I went to one steakhouse because I couldn't go to the other?
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
I remembered I was hosting. I was doing a bit.
Oh,
Yeah. You were
Way to
doing
recover.
Hey.
Good recovery.
Yeah.
I
I
like it.
Anyway,
Yeah.
welcome
hey,
back.
on this fucking show, we step on bits
Yeah.
That's right.
like they're fucking ants.
We shatter them.
Okay.
Where's
God
my
forbid
Where's my-
anybody does a bit.
Or
Where's
like
my
to go
going
in
to
and-
get
and
stepped
harm
on?
you.
Where's my
I-
yurt-based economy?
Yeah, I have peripheral vision in the one who I'm mainly talking about in this
Where's my
scenario.
Where's my
so we're just
yurt-based
continuing
economy?
that tradition.
For those of you that
Where's
actually
my
listen to
yurt-based
us,
economy?
welcome back to Travelers on the Omnibus, a field trip through nerd and pop culture.
Porp.
Yep.
Pork rinds.
Porp
I
culture.
cannot English very well, and my name is Ethan Skinner.
I'm James McCarthy.
I'm Brady Davis.
I'm Jody Kite.
Well, I'm already fucking everything up. So let me tell you about something that happened to me today,
Okay.
as we normally do about our
Okay.
lives.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been doing a lot more Persona 5 Royale. I'm having a lot of fun with it. And Jay can attest, I work a graveyard schedule at my work. So I typically sleep through the morning.
He's a
to the
midnighter.
afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And I was asleep. And so I wake up to a call at about 12 o'clock. 11:30
In the morning.
in the morning. Yes.
Yeah. 11:30 hours if we're going by 24-hour time.
Is from an unknown number. I'm like, okay, sure. Why not answer it?
Oh,
I get
that
it.
was a mistake.
That I have the exact opposite reaction to
Yeah,
those.
me
Yeah.
too.
I
I
don't
block
know. I
them
don't-
immediately.
Yeah.
I at least want to know who I'm going to block.
I don't.
after the conversation.
I don't want to know.
But no, it is a call from Bianca's uncle.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. All I hear is, "Hey, I need you to meet me outside with a broom and a dustpan." For reference,
Get ready.
he cuts our grass every few weeks. I'm like,
Okay. Point of context. Okay.
okay, sure. I'll let
Thought
me.
he'd built a funeral pyre or something.
I don't know. He's up to some shenanigans. I don't know what's.
Lawn care shenanigans.
But now you're an accessory to those shenanigans.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's in
Yeah.
my home. So
There you go.
Censored.
What am I cutting? I didn't even notice.
We don't want to implicate Ethan. He could
Oh.
be in a crime.
Wait, we
Censored.
what the fuck?
we don't want to check the charter because I'm pretty sure we've stated a number of times we need to implicate him in a crime before this.
Yeah,
this
but it's
podcast
something.
is
But
complete.
we want something that we plan, not somebody else
Oh.
plans. We
Yes.
want to have that satisfaction
Okay.
of laughing at him while we send him to jail.
Okay.
at least
there
I
you go.
know who's going to be the source of my demise.
Yes.
There you go.
you.
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
it's going to be your fault.
Yeah.
so I wake up begrudgingly.
You just got to eat another corn dog, and that's you're one more away.
Not remember it's a Georgia corn dog.
Yes.
Specifically a
a
speedway.
Georgia racetrack.
Racetrack. That's right.
Yes. But I get up, I get dressed, I find a dustpan and a broom.
I wouldn't have got dressed. I said, "Take me as I am." Like this is basically how you got to deal with this
And
situation.
I open the door, and I have a glass screen door and a regular door.
Uh-huh.
I open my actual door
Uh-huh.
to find my glass door completely shattered and on the ground.
Oh.
And I'm looking at.
Did he kick out a rock when
I-
he was mowing?
I'm looking at Bianca's uncle through the.
We've got like 20 more minutes of this story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't
Okay,
spoil it.
spoilers. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm looking at him through the non-existent door frame now, and he's just on the phone, and I'm like, "The fuck happened?"
Yeah.
And this story he gives me is that he's. I don't know what.
There
to
was
trust.
air quotes for the listeners.
Yeah,
That's
but
why we're laughing.
except it really wasn't quotes, and more he was just grabbing at a titty. Like I can't really. It was like the whole hand is like squeeze. It's like what the fuck.
It was super quotes.
What he told me was that he was sitting in his truck when he heard a loud bang, which caused the door to shatter. I don't know whether to believe him or not. My gut says don't believe him, and I think he just accidentally shot a rock at my door, and he doesn't want to be blamed for
I
it.
guarantee you that's what's happened.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody made a sound. There wasn't an opera lady with the horns and everything hitting a high note, breaking your
It was
fucking
like
door.
an F-14 flying by your house, shattering all of your glass.
Like 20 feet above your house.
Except just the one glass pane.
Yeah, and I'm still managed to be asleep at this point.
Right.
Because I
That's
didn't
an
hear
experimental aircraft.
We can only shatter glass doors.
Yeah. Windows, we haven't figured that one out.
Haven't figured that shit out yet.
Yep. So while I was off at college, I came home for winter break my sophomore year, and I'm out on the porch and I noticed, hey, there's a hole in like one of the windows facing on the porch, and like they're like man-sized windows, about well a little bit more, like 7.5 feet. And I said, hey mom, what happened here? Oh yeah, one of the neighbor boys shot a .22 at the house.
Oh.
What? Yeah. What? The sheriff's let us keep the bullet. Do you want to see it? What?
So I got a story too. When I was like 12,
Okay.
we had like there was like the house we were living at. The house next door was unoccupied, and there was like a dilapidated car just like sitting next to it that had been there for like 5 years or whatever. And we're shooting like legit BBs, not pellets, BBs,
Yeah.
but we weren't. Nobody was shooting at the car, so we were shooting cans well away from where the car was.
Uh-huh.
I managed to shoot the keystone. I shot directly into the accidentally missed the can, shot directly into the center of the back windshield, and it completely turned into powder.
Yep, that'd do it.
Yes.
The magic keystone bullet. Because normally if a BB goes through a windshield, it like just goes through and it leaves like a, or glass, it leaves like the little like spray, shrapnel looking, spider thing that, glass webs out on. Nope. Not this time.
So,
this time it shattered the whole thing.
So we found the second Kennedy assassin. And it's
yeah,
Jody.
that's it.
There you
That's
go.
it. With a BB gun.
You talking about that reminded me of another story.
A spring-loaded BB gun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this
Daisy.
Red Rider.
Daisy.
Shoot your eye out.
Yeah.
Speaking of eyes,
I shot one out.
this was many years ago. Me and my siblings, we would go with my mom to her friend's house, and her kids would have like all these like airsoft guns, BB guns, pellet guns, whatnot. And we would just grab a couple of them and run around the neighborhood shooting at each other.
Yeah, that's what you do. That's what you do.
Yeah.
I managed to shoot the older son right on the inside of his eyelid.
Oh, that's impressive. And the BB stuck there.
For a little bit.
Yeah,
Until he cried an exorbitant amount of time while his mom got it out.
Well, that proves he's human because he cried when he got shot in the eye with a BB gun.
Yeah.
That's how they should have done it in Blade Runner. Hold still. Punch. And like, if you're not crying afterward, then clearly you're a replicant. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. My week was boring up until this morning.
Yeah.
Or afternoon.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yes.
Hey Brady, do you have any stories about guns
No, I
involving
don't.
you?
No.
None at
I
all.
don't have any BB gun stories.
No
or
BB
any-
gun stories at
Or
all.
any glass breaking stories.
No.
Since
No.
we're already talking about you, Brady, what have you been doing this week?
Okay, yeah. So this past week, the Portugal the Man album came out. Craig Black changed my life. Listen to it. It's really, really good. It's a short listen. I think it's only like 35, 40 minutes. Yeah. The singles that I've listened to are a little bit stronger than the rest of the album, but there are some really good stuff. But they released like half the album before it actually came out. So like most of the album is really good. Thunderdome, Welcome to America is great. Dummy, Summer of Love, Plastic Island's really good. Champ is really good. It's actually featuring Edgar Winter.
That's cool.
Yeah. Anxiety, Clarity is really good. Like it's a pretty fucking good album. Most of the songs are a bop. So check it out if you like Portugal the Man. If you don't, fuck you because you have terrible taste. Yeah, and then the newest season of The Bear came out, which is a show. In the first season, this guy who's like a really well known like super famous chef, like he's won like awards and shit, and like been in like Michelin-starred restaurants. He has to come home and take over his brother's like shitty just like beef sandwich shop after he commits suicide, and his brother kind of leaves the shop to him, and it's him dealing with that. And so to talk about the second season, I kind of got to spoil the end of the first season. They decide to like kind of he wants to make like a decently high class restaurant. Like they're gonna tear everything down because they find some money and they're gonna tear everything down and rebuild it as the Bear. So the second season is mostly about that. It's about them because they figure out like, okay, we have to open like in an incredibly short amount of time. So it's about them having to do all the shit that they have to do to gut this place and build it back up, and then finding people, and then they're like sending some people. The guy who's like the dessert guy, he sends him to Copenhagen where he studied, and he learns like how to do really good with pastries there. They send some of the guys to some to actually take some like culinary courses at a college. One guy that he sends to like a really, really super nice restaurant to see how they do things, like, and it's a really fucking good show. Like it's super tense. Like there's less of like because until the very last episode, they're not actually like doing restaurant stuff. You get like a different side. There's still a lot of anxiety because it's about like, okay, what does it take to actually start a restaurant, especially in like this economic climate? Because kind of a behind the main plot thing, there's they keep showing like all these other restaurants closing and everything like that. So it's more about like what goes into that. But there's even like a flashback episode to a Christmas like 4 years ago, and good Lord, like the cast of this one episode is fucking stacked. I'm not gonna like tell anything because you're gonna do, if you watch it, you're gonna be the whole time like, oh shit, that's so and so. Oh shit, that's so and so. Like it's a stack, and it is like super fucking tense. Like it is like just think of like family Christmases and family Thanksgivings and things like that. Like it's that like turned up to 11. Mm-hmm. Like, so like they can still do like the tension and everything, but it's a really, really good show. This season was really, really good.
It's been one that I've been wanting to watch for a while, but I just don't have access to Hulu. I believe it's on Hulu.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's on FX and next day Hulu, if I remember the
well,
promos
I think the second season is just Hulu because they dropped it
Hulu?
all at once.
Okay.
Gotcha.
The first season, it was like a weekly thing where it came out on Hulu weekly.
Gotcha.
But this one, they dropped it all at once. The first season was 8 episodes. This is 10 episodes, and they're between like 30 and like 50 minutes.
It got the Netflix treatment. Drop all the episodes at once.
Yeah. Which when it's a 30-minute show, I'm okay with that. Or when it's less than like an hour or something like that, I kind of like that. But yeah, it's really fucking good. I would strongly suggest to check that out.
I have a quick question that I'd like to get in from the next person. Going back to the music thing, a couple weeks ago when you brought up. I think we were talking about the Ghost cover album. We've also been talking about Sleep Token and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned that this was shaping up to be a great year in movies. Music. Right now, all time for you personally.
Mm-hmm.
How good has this year in music been? Like, is it the best, near the top?
Saying it's the best is like super hard, but it is so far. Like, it's a really fucking good year for music.
Okay,
like
just something I wanted to.
A lot of bands that I like have, or groups that I like have come out with new music, and it's all really fucking good. So.
Yeah. Okay, no, honestly, it was just just something, because I don't think you've had a bad experience with music this year at all.
Well, it's mostly like I've just been waiting for the stuff, the bands that I like to. They have something coming out, so I'm gonna listen to it.
When's the Coheed concert?
September.
Okay, yeah, because I know
10th.
that was happening for you too. So
Mm-hmm.
I saw today that Fall Out Boy came out with a modern cover of "We Didn't Start the Fire."
Yeah.
I haven't.
It actually it runs kind of well because we mentioned Billy Joel of all things in the last episode. And I like that there's an update to that song because a lot of shit has happened since 1986, and I would like to see if somebody could try.
Yeah.
And what I love the rhythm of that song because it just keeps going. And if you're following along with it, it's actually it's a bop. I'll just say that right there. So yeah, I appreciate that.
Pretty good.
And
like
Fall Out
it.
Boy is actually pretty good with covers. Like they have several covers that I actually like.
They had the Michael Jackson "Beat It" cover, which
that's one of the few that I'm like, no.
I'm
And
not the biggest.
I liked it.
I did like
I don't
John
like it
Mayer's.
better.
I did like John Mayer's guitar solo in that.
They have a really good cover of Roxanne.
Oh, I don't doubt. Well, with what Patrick?
I don't remember.
Yeah, his
any
voice.
of their
His
names.
voice, I think, works perfectly for that shit. So,
Yeah. And then the only other thing that I've been doing is this past Saturday, I went up here because all the people who play like 40K a lot, they were coming up here and doing some stuff with the combat patrols. I played like kind of half-ish a game. Ended up, but I was hanging out with all of them. They're not terrible people, as far as I can tell.
What a glowing endorsement.
As far as I can tell,
They're not bad, y'all. They're not bad.
40K people, they're not terrible.
Yeah, I didn't want to stick a pencil in my ear from hanging out with them, so that was
You
good.
have the best taglines for things. Like I'm still remembering the Phantom of the Paradise. This cost $5. I still want that. I want a reprint of the movie poster with that tagline on the bottom of it. I need that in my life.
I need a t-shirt. I need a t-shirt that says "Mini gamers, they bathe more than TCG players."
Yeah.
That's a roll of the dice.
Yeah, I think that's with any game really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I didn't bathe today.
Nice.
So I
Awesome.
don't play I play board games. So deal with that information.
So yeah,
I can't smell you across the room though. So
That is, I try to keep it to like if you can do a cross table, that's bad.
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm still getting into that. I think I counted up. I think I've got about 1,500-ish points, a little bit less of Thousand Suns. Still need a few more things.
Then don't you have 500 more points than you should have because they're 1,000 suns?
It's suns, not points.
Oh,
Yeah. So, like I said, I didn't get to play like a full game because we were just kind of like the Thousand Suns Combat Patrol is kind of weak, and I'm not used to everything that I'm learning with 40K is kind of like I have to put it into, okay, this is the part that's different from Age of Sigmar, because Age of Sigmar, they're similar games, but they have some differences, and I have to get used to that. Plus, the guy that I was playing, he's a cool guy. He's the guy who plays is the long haired guy with the mustache who plays every Wednesday he's over there in the corner playing with that other group.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
I didn't get any of their names and they didn't ask my name, so we don't fucking know who we are. But and I'm terrible with names anyway. If he could have told me his name, but I played against him. He had Dark Angels.
It's like the Eyes Wide Shut orgy scene, except people are playing minis and stuff.
Yeah, and he had a dreadnought, and like I had nothing to take that out. So
I said
like
that just
was
for that reaction.
Yeah,
over there.
yeah. So, but that's what I've been doing. Still, getting I built some more Terminators and a Sorcerer and Terminator armor. So
I've got the Necron Combat Patrol box that I've not put together, and I have the Dark Angels Combat Patrol box, which to me,
do you have the new Necron or the original or the old?
I have the one that has the scythe in it, the flyer.
Yeah, okay. They've changed it up now.
Oh, okay.
It's the same thing that was in.
Disregard. I don't have it then.
That it's 10 warriors.
Okay.
It's what came in the Indomitus box,
except with that one piece.
Except with the Walker thing. Okay. I don't know the name of it. It's like 10 warriors. The I can't remember what any of the shit that Necrons are named.
Mm-hmm. There's like everything.
They changed it because I think they took out because they didn't want like a flyer in there because the whole point of combat patrol
because that throws it. Yeah, because that throws the balance way off.
Yeah, and that's an extra thing that you have to learn is because flying like a thing that is like a flyer instead of just having fly like a ship thing acts totally different in 40K compared to like something else. Like it can only go in like a straight line and then it can turn and stuff like that. So it works like an aircraft. So and that's an extra thing that they don't want. Because combat patrol, the whole point of it is supposed to be simpler to get to, like play. Yeah. Fewer rules, so or less overhead.
For Games Workshop, I'll say thank you Thank you for that. Thank you for producing a product that you can just put out there and like get the box of, put it together.
And the fact that access to basically all the rules for this edition are free. Like that's something that is like pretty amazing for 40K.
Mm-hmm.
Next year we're probably going to get 4th edition of Age of Sigmar. So hopefully they keep going with that, where we can get all this shit for Age of Sigmar free, and they'll do like used to. If a new edition came out, you had to play with your old codex or your old book or whatever until the new thing came out, and that's how they do with Age of Sigmar. That's how they do with 40K. And now they're like, okay, no, here we are. We have updated everything. Here's the rules for your army that you have right now for free. We'll only give you one thing that you can play with, and like you have all your models, but like one detachment that you can play with. If you want more, wait till the codex comes out, and maybe there's some updates of rules and stuff like that. I don't know.
I dig that. I know there's a lot of bite back about that. And to be fair, like if I had sunk a whole lot, like a whole lot of money, we're talking like in the thousands of dollars, and I couldn't field everything, or if everything felt kind of weird, I can appreciate the alienation on that. I personally think this is the time to start getting people into the hobby.
Yeah. This is. I can see how it's annoying for old players, but people just getting into this is like great, because like every single time, like I hit a wall every single time. I was like, well, I'll get into 40K and start some stuff, and then like I would hit a wall. Most of the time, it would just be looking at a fucking list for 40K and trying to figure it out, because it's so fucking complicated. And now it's not. So yeah, still having fun with all that. So yeah, that's it. That's me.
Sounds neat. Sounds neat. Jody, what you been doing, man?
So I've always seen clips of this here and there, and I've actually mentioned a clip of this movie on the show before. But over the weekend, I watched the movie from beginning to end, which was kind of cringy because it doesn't really hold up very well. Not as much as the first one, and that's Decline of the Western Civilization Part 2. The first one is...
that was Penelope Spheris?
I think so. Penelope's definitely her first name. Yeah. But the first one's about the punk rock scene out of California, and it's entertaining. To say nothing else, at least it's entertaining. There's a couple of talented bands in that, but man... Decline 2. What can you say about Decline 2?
I think the tag was the Metal Years.
The Metal Years. And so it was filmed at the end of like I think either 86 or 87 into 88. So this is right before Guns N' Roses. Well,
88.
Nobody, yeah.
Well, this is the era of LA Guns and Hollywood Rose. This is separate bands.
This is before. Well, I'm saying like before metal was kind of there, and there were metal heads, and it was popular, but it didn't really break until around that Guns N' Roses period, in like 88. Like as far as mainstream culture goes, I'm counting mainstream culture.
Which can we at least say here the tip of Mount Everest on that one's going to be the Black Album from Metallica.
Yeah, I think that's the crescendo. That's the final finale of the of metal as a whole being in the eye of the mainstream. But there were so many like random terrible bands. Like there's plenty of bands that were like either never had a video on a Headbangers Ball back in the day, or if they did, I don't remember them. And one of the worst bands that I saw on there was Odin. And man, they were terrible. They were pretty terrible.
The scene from that I remember that sticks out in my head because I watched that years ago, and then of all things, VH1 back when they actually did like proper like really good documentary stuff, which was heavy, the story of metal.
Right.
They brought her on to like talk about the movie about it.
Yeah.
And she brought up the scene that just completely fucks with me. I can't remember who the name of the singer is, but he's in his pool on like a floating couch in the pool.
Oh yeah.
And he has a complete bottle of vodka.
He's the guitarist for Wasp.
Okay. He goes like, check this out. Pops the bottle open.
Right.
Drinks most of the bottle.
Right.
Jesus.
Most of the like there is like some of it that spills on him towards the end of it. For the most part, he downs an entire fifth of vodka on there. It's like
show that in the movie until near the end because of how depressing it is. Because like she's asking him like off, behind the camera or whatever. She's like, and he's like, better to be happy and broke than to be rich and depressed. And she's like, how many of those do you drink a day? He's like 6.
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ.
And they're proper fifths of vodka, and he drinks like 2 of them, like in like a span of less than 5 minutes.
And this
Jesus
is one of the things
Christ.
about waiting to edit. They on scene, they're like, well, we don't really have a lot because he's just like, he's drunk
just
and
drinking.
he's just fucked up. And it's like, what the hell? And then like a couple days later, after they're out of it and had time to decompress from it, and they're watching the footage back, it's like,
Right.
holy shit!
Right.
Like, yeah, the actual emotion
Yeah.
and gravity of that just hits.
I think also like on the opposite end of the spectrum, there's mid 80s Ozzy making breakfast in his kitchen.
Yeah.
And they're just like, he's just having casual conversations about like why he doesn't do as many drugs and whatever. And he's like, I'm an alcoholic, but I don't drink anymore and all this other stuff or whatever. And I think he went back on or off the wagon or whatever you want to call it after that. But he seemed completely fine, which is not how you normally see Ozzy at any point.
Was that before or after Randy Rhoads died?
That's before Randy
Okay,
Rhoads.
okay, then I know what got him back on.
I want to say that I think Randy Rhoads had happened by the time this movie got released.
Okay, so this stuff was filmed before.
Before Randy Rhoads, because
Yeah.
that fucked him up pretty bad.
That's arguably the worst tragedy in the history of metal.
It's pretty bad.
Like you could say Cliff Burton's up there,
Right.
But the idea that they were that the guy in the plane's doing a fucking joyride, to fucking scare the manager,
Right.
loses control of it,
And
crashes
whoops.
into a
Yeah.
house, and
Right.
just that gets me right in the fucking kidneys.
Yeah. So the most depressing thing about that movie is the fact that the timeline, because it came out like I said, it came out like either late 87 or early 88 or whatever.
88.
And like all of the like scene kids that were in it, not scene, but you know what I'm saying, like all the LA kids that were in it, that were in bands that were trying to make it, that didn't. That were, she asked them all the same questions. So what are you going to be doing in 10 years? Because like nobody knows that this is going to be a dead scene in like 3 or 4.
And for some of them, the career was already over. They
Right.
just didn't know it yet.
Almost every one of them was like, "Oh, I'm going to make it. I have no other choice. Like I have no other skills." I was like, "You're not going to make it though. You're not going to make it in this music scene. You're going to probably end up being a roadie, or maybe if you get lucky, like work at somewhere in production or whatever. But you're not going to make it as a musician. It's not going to happen." Then on a lighter note, I listened to a newish Andrew WK album that came out
cool.
2 years ago.
Okay.
During the height of COVID, which is why nobody remembers it happening. Called "God Is Partying," but there's no songs about partying in it. That's his joke. He's that gimmick. Like he kind of started getting away from that gimmick after the second album, and then Aqua Teen movie came out, and they're like, "Hey, can you make another song about partying?" He's like, "Fine, I'll make another song about partying," and it's literally 1 minute of him going, "Party, party, party! I want to have a party! I want to have a party!" Because he hated it so much, because that whole gimmick was like his the team behind his production and everything.
One of my favorite people, like legitimately, like he's cool, down to earth dude.
He
like,
is. My favorite thing about him, before I go into the album for a little bit, is the CMJ thing. I've talked to Jay about this thing, where he did back when College Music Journal actually existed, which was a magazine. If you don't know what magazines are, Ethan, they're these little pieces. They used to put CDs in these. They were monthlies, right? And you'd be like $10 magazine.
I love how you just like really didn't explain what a magazine.
I didn't.
Like if
I didn't.
Ethan legitimately did not know what a magazine
Right,
is,
yeah.
he still would not know what a magazine is.
You wouldn't.
It's like Destructoid, except you have to print Destructoid out on several pieces of paper.
Yeah.
And then you have to get someone to pay for it.
Yeah.
Well,
usually you signed up for them and they came in the mail.
Or you could buy them in what was called newsstands or grocery stores. I don't know if you know what a grocery store is. So,
Wait, he knows. We are literally like 200 feet from one right now.
I worked at that
worked-
one.
He worked at it.
anyway, there used to be a magazine called the CMJ. It was a college music journal, and it had college music in it. It was like a CD in every monthly issue. That's how I found out about Butt
It
Trumpet.
was like official PlayStation magazine.
Yeah.
Wait.
Or
hang
official
on, hang-
Xbox
hang-
magazine.
Hang on. Did you say butt trumpets?
Yeah, butt trumpet. Have you ever heard of butt trumpet?
The fact that I'm asking about you saying butt trumpet, that probably answers that question.
Yeah.
So I know one band with butt in the name of it, but it's not that one.
The Butthole Surfers.
Butthole Surfers.
Yeah. So Andrew was doing they had like a meet and greet or a press conference or whatever, and they had him speak at it because he's actually a public speaker and self-help guy. And he came out on stage, and the first thing he did was he tackled a chair. He tackled a chair that had like metal legs to it, and he tackled it and he bent it into a pretzel, and then he sat down on it for just a minute. Hold on. I know you're pondering. I'm going to get to it. So it was just a Q&A thing, right? So he sat down on the chair for just a minute, and then everybody like clapped because it was funny or whatever, and then he got up and he was breathing heavy or whatever. And Andrew doesn't miss a beat. He's very intelligent. Even though he's a metal dude, he's very intelligent. In fact, he plays all the instruments on every album he's ever recorded, and he takes a live band out with him on tour. He goes, all right, I'll take the first question. And someone in the audience goes, yeah, why did you do that? And immediately he went, well, I didn't like the way the chair looked. So instead of calling someone and complaining about it, I changed it into something that I wanted it to look like. Which is both a philosophical and bullshit answer, and I love both of it. So the album that came out is his sixth album that came out in 2021 called God Likes Partying or whatever. And it's all like, I wouldn't say like biblically themed, but all the names are biblical for the most part, or like tied to that or whatever.
Yeah.
Even though there's no metaphor for it. Babylon is a song. It's about the ups and downs of the music industry and Hollywood and things like that. And Everyone Sins is also about people being hypocritical about things and all that. But like almost every song on that album, with the exception of a couple, because he likes putting out banger songs. Like almost all of his songs are bangers. Like, you know, Party Till You Puke, Party Party Party. You know, I Like to Party. You know, the first album had like
Party
8,
Hard.
Yeah, Party Hard. The first album had 8 out of 10 songs had Party in the title because that was the whole gimmick or whatever. And then his second album, he kind of started, you know, there was only 3 songs on the album about partying.
The video for It's Time to Party is like a minute and a half, and it's just abject fucking lunacy.
Right.
Yeah. That's
his album cover for that is a picture of his nose broken with blood coming out of it.
yeah, because he smashed his face with a rock.
Yeah.
Before
That's a party
Interesting.
album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an album about partying.
That's not a deathcore album.
Yeah.
That's a fucking straight up fucking
and
party
then
album.
a friend
Isn't
and then
the first album named I Get Wet?
I Get Wet. Yeah.
that's on that album.
yeah.
I think that's the name of the album.
That's
Isn't it?
that might be the name of the
I
album.
think that's the name of the
but
album.
That's also
I had that album.
yeah.
so.
I Get Wet and God, I can't remember the other songs on the album.
It's
But
been so long since I've
Yeah.
listened to that album.
But a friend of mine sent me a message today, and doesn't know my entirety of my musical taste yet, because
Who would?
yeah. Well, what I'm about to say is going to be like, what? Maybe not. And my friend sends me a message like, "Hey, have you heard the new what's his name, Ronnie Radke or whatever, Falling in Reverse lead singer?"
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, have you heard the new cover song by this guy? And I'm like, no, send it to me because I want to watch it, ironically. Because one, I don't like him as a person. He's a shit human being.
Yeah, he is a shit human being. Yeah.
And secondly, I really don't like Falling in Reverse for the most part.
They had like one song that I liked, and everything else that I've heard from them, I'm like,
I'm blanking. What was the song?
It's the
Raised by
Papa
Wolves.
Roach. It's a Papa Roach cover, isn't it?
no,
What?
no. I think they might have had one.
Yeah.
Didn't they also do a cover of Gangster's Paradise that is like super cringy?
That's not what it is.
If that's
hang
the same
on.
band,
but
if it's the same
song that
band,
I'm thinking of, they had a song called "Raised by Wolves" that I think is not terrible, but I don't go back to it too often.
whoever did that fucking Gangsta's Paradise cover,
Mm-hmm.
I hate that. I hate it for meta reasons because Coolio's in the fucking video.
Oh yeah.
And Coolio was offended
Right.
that fucking that fucking Weird Al did a cover of it with Amish Paradise.
Right.
Amish Paradise is fun and is respectful to the fucking original song.
Yeah.
Whereas this shit is like, I'm a low down
Right,
gangster
right,
shit,
right.
bank. No, what?
Right.
Yeah,
What? Oh my
it's really-
God.
it's
Are you
really-
looking it up,
It's really, really
Ethan?
bad.
I'm
It's really, really bad.
yeah, I am looking.
Why don't you hit Falling in Reverse cover song?
Last Resort.
That was it.
Reimagined.
Last
Yeah.
Resort. So he covered Last Resort, and I was shocked but not appalled because it was actually decent for one.
Well,
and secondly, it was
Papa Roach and Falling in Reverse are very close.
but that's not the style they did the song in though. Like nowhere
What the
near.
f- I don't.
They
I'm,
did.
I'm good. I don't
they
He
know
did it.
anymore.
He did it like a Frank Sinatra crooner.
It
I don't
was.
know.
I don't know. It was just like him and a piano, and it was symphonic mostly. It wasn't metal. There was no guitars in it until near the very end.
Draymond has a lot to answer for because shit like that wasn't happening until he covered Sound of Silence.
Right.
Falling in Reverse also. Did
I know you.
the,
I know
Gangsta's
you.
Paradise
You stared
cover.
at me. I didn't want to necessarily bring that up, but we have to admit, songs like that weren't getting done until Disturbed did that.
And they didn't even want to do it in that style. They had two different styles they did that song in, and like people were like, no, we like that version.
Hey Jay, Falling in Reverse did do the Gangsta's Paradise.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they can fast
Right.
forward for all I
Right.
care.
Yeah, he
the
was.
song was okay.
It's
It was fine.
well,
not
Gangsta's
not
Paradise-
that one. Not
Gangsta's
that
Paradise
one.
is
Not that
hot
one.
Fucking garbage.
Not that one.
version.
No, not that one. The one I was just talking about, the Papa Roach song.
Okay.
It was okay, especially considering I can't stand Papa Roach. So that's just me. You know, I'm not. a
Papa
fan.
Roach. There's a couple of songs of theirs that I like, but mostly I'm just like, yeah.
I'm not a fan of that. Like the angry white boy post alternative rock music for the most part.
It gets very old.
Yeah.
It gets very, very
You know.
old. I used to really like Papa Roach, but now I'm just like,
Right.
There's like 3-4 songs of theirs that I can listen to, and not even at a regular. Yeah.
I was going to talk about something else, but now I've changed my mind. So
Okay, keep your secret.
Well, shit.
That's going to be part of the deep lore of the omnibus.
actually, yeah.
Okay,
so-
now he wants to talk
No,
about
it's not that he didn't want to. It's that he forgot.
yeah. So I showed Jay a video last night.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
From Rudy from Alpha Investments.
Yes, he did.
Ethan, do you know this story?
Probably not.
Hold on.
At this time, probably
Welcome
not.
to the completed podcast Southside edition.
South.
Can I tell you a funny story? You'll find this
go
fucking
for it.
hilarious. So normally when Magic releases like the yearly like 4 or 5 decks, you go on
commander decks.
The commander decks, right? The commander decks typically up until this one. However, this one is, since it's licensed, it's the only reason why they're 60, because they're probably going to be 50 after that. Otherwise, nobody's going to buy them. Typically, they've been $45, but because it's Lord of the Rings, all the decks are $60.
Yeah.
Now, typically online and even in the store, you can save a couple dollars by buying all 4 in a bundle. Okay.
Yeah.
Amazon had a deal where, like, they're $60 by themselves or $55 on Amazon or whatever. But if you bought all 4 of them sealed in a box with its own UPC code, that's important.
Okay.
I'm giving you some Chekhov's gun material here. Not really. For under $200. Free shipping, like $189. So you're spending like just under $50 for each deck. So you're saving like
You're saving $40.
you're saving like $40.
And hell, you're saving on what would be the normal price for it if it weren't for the license.
Right. You're basically paying $45 for each deck at that point. So Amazon couldn't fulfill the pre-orders.
I remember discussions about this going around.
So they decided to open the boxes and send each customer 1 deck instead of 4. And
The people that
paid $200 got a $60 deck.
But wait, there's more.
They put it in an envelope with no protection whatsoever, and almost all of them got destroyed or crushed in some way.
interesting.
I was watching this video, and Alpha Investments is in his like little warehouse area where he's made a throne of Weiss Schwartz boxes, which was kind of funny. And I'm watching this, and every word that's coming out of his mouth is like a knife right in my eyes. I'm like, what the fuck? Everything about this is fucked. This is wrong. What the fuck? there has to be at some level, and I agree with Alpha in this regard, and the fact that these guys don't know, so they're trying to do their best to make these fulfillments as fulfilled as possible with what they've got. That at the same time, though, there's got to be some sort of, this product is coming, like anything north of $150 to me is like, they should have like, this product is coming in, this needs to be handled in this way.
Right.
Something's like it's like, maybe even if they can do it this way, some sort of rider that's on the fucking boxes themselves. Look, this is what, make sure you handle it this way. For them to open up boxes, like you said, the QPC code's on the front of the box that this is a 4-pack. You're buying a 4-pack.
Right.
Whoever thought it would be a good idea to rip that open and piecemeal this out as a way to fulfill these things, fuck that. No, that's fucked.
Right.
That is 100%
Yeah,
fucked.
Amazon's gonna have to. I don't know what they're doing to fix it, but
To my knowledge, whenever they have like those kinds of sales for like the case of the Commander decks, they don't have like a stock limit because they're pretty much fulfillments, correct?
I don't know how any of that works.
Yeah. To me, like the best way to go about it is say like, hey, we have a limited supply of cases, like whole cases that we can supply. It's first come, first serve at that point. That's how I would imagine they fix it. But
That's dangerous. That's very dangerous, because if you underestimate the demand on something, forget just even Magic or games, or just, if you underestimate the demand for anything like that, for a product that's not going to be replaced easily, or that may not be replaced at all, because the nature of CCGs is that the value is in be able to collect it afterwards. So if you print more, you're devaluing the thing on the back end. To do that and not be able to then fulfill that's bad. That's very bad. Like, yeah, I think there should be a baked-in limit, but we also know that with baked-in limits, then the opposite problem happens where, okay, a bot buys, we only going to have 200 units, and then a bot buys 200 units.
Yeah.
And then they're going to sell it for 5 times as much, and they're going to make some sort of money off of it because that fear of missing out is just there.
Right now, the bundle is still on Amazon, and the star rating is 1.2 because over 1,000 people have
Good.
one
I
vote.
believe it.
If you've been fucked over with this, voice that. Make it loud enough so that somebody's got to fucking hear you.
Just email us good.
Right.
I do want to say that Bianca is finding this absolutely riveting.
Oh, yes,
Oh,
we
yeah.
have
Hanging on every.
I would say we have a
word.
live studio audience, but it's a sleeping studio audience right now. It's a napping studio audience. It's very good. There you go.
Yeah, I'm blaming you. Have all put Bianca to sleep. I don't know anything about what's
She looks
going
like
on,
she's
so I'm
about to-
taking no blame.
She looks
in
like
this.
she's about to have a spa treatment. They're about to put the cucumbers on her eyes.
She's still recovering from a nasty sunburn.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's me.
There you go.
Jay, what have you been doing?
So Tears of the Kingdom. I'm finishing. I'm finding all the rest of the shrines, because at the very least I want to have that done, because I want to have max hearts. But then, and also Morkborg, Swedish black metal RPG. It's, yes, like this has been a running joke with me and a friend of the show, Connell Damiano, who is like he tweeted me this, like, I think almost like maybe a year ago. It's like, James, I don't know why, but I think you would love this. And it was like this picture of a skeleton with an upside down cross on a helmet on his head, with a sword and a shield. And the whole thing's on just a bright yellow background with some fucking Scandinavian writing behind it, except there's red over the shield and the sword. So, you know, it's blood. It's like, what the fuck is this? And it was like a doom metal album turned into an RPG. I'm like, you have my attention. And then it took a while, but then finally it's like, oh, I have a few extra dollars this month.
Right.
Time for Morkborg. So
Right.
just a warning to the passengers, and I guess also to the travelers now. The next time I'm doing a RPG on the show, we're more
That's fine.
It is a very metal.
Prepare to die.
Cover.
Yeah.
It's very
It's if you took a doom metal album and you crossed it with Dark Souls.
Yeah, the Morkborg is an interesting thing. It's spawned a lot of like side things. Just the aesthetic of it when you look through the book is very interesting.
It's very punk rock.
It's very punk. Like, well, and specifically like formatting and text means nothing. Like, there's one section called Bad Habits where you can roll a bad habit for your character, except the title of it is interspersed between all of the choices you can make.
Right.
So it's like, oh god.
It's like if a goth person did a punk zine, basically. Like that, if that makes any sense.
Our analogies are on point today,
Oh yeah,
gentlemen.
yeah.
We're very good
at
today.
this.
Very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, there's a reason we have a podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
So, real quick, it's more the Amazon story is more nefarious.
Jesus Christ. Okay,
oh, no.
update.
Breaking news.
They sent most of them in giant boxes. So, like with no padding. This one right here. What?
Yeah.
Huh?
I apologize to all the passengers for screaming.
That's
I'm actually going to dim down that scream I just
There
said.
was no.
What the fuck?
It's just a deck box and a giant box.
So in a box that you would put a medium-sized microwave in,
Yeah.
they ship you a magic deck box
With no protection.
with no padding,
Okay.
Somebody had to have had a bad day.
Okay. The microwave would have filled the entire box.
Several buyers say there are no options to replace their missing decks currently.
Wow.
Of course there isn't, because
This
it's a
is-
limited product.
Well, also, this is 2 days ago. Well, people are going to get refunded or some shit.
yeah,
Yeah,
Like-
I'd imagine they would.
yeah, that one's god damn it.
That's the worst thing I think I've seen happen in Amazon in a while.
There you go.
Yes, that is absolutely the worst thing that Amazon has ever done.
Yeah, absolutely.
With its founder, Jeff Bezos.
Yes.
Well,
Nothing
I'm
ever.
not talking about
Nothing ever has
the person.
happened bad.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about Jeffrey Bezos.
I'm just kidding. That is terrible. Like it's just a symptom of the bug that is Amazon.
was
That
like,
we
that-
can't fucking escape.
That's like buying like a fucking Age of Sigmar and only getting one figure out of a box of 20.
Yeah, like the figure was put together, but then it was put in a box.
Or like
that-
Jay
that could
said,
fit.
like, here's
There's
your
5 sprues in the
you
box.
get
Here's
one sprue. You get
There
one
you go.
sprue.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Figure that shit
Sorry,
out.
you spent $200.
Yeah.
I would
3D print the rest of it, and then some weirdo at Games Workshop is going to see you bring it to a regular tournament. They'll be like, "You cannot play this."
Yeah. Mhm.
I will equate it to buying like the huge like giant model figurine. Buying one giant and only getting like the head.
I can see the headline for that when mini gamers get sprued in debacle from Amazon.
Hold on, I'm going to hit a
Jesus,
button.
what the crap.
That was a magical pun.
There you go.
Magical puns.
Magical funds.
I think this one's butt trumpet. No, not that
Nope,
one. Wait a minute.
that's
No, we're
not
going to
it.
find it. No, that's
Nope,
not it. There it is,
Yeah.
butt trumpet.
Butt Trumpet has a song called Funeral Crashing.
Is that like that one time that the big boss man went to the funeral?
It's really
Big
close.
Show's dad.
It's
and then
really close
He
to
drove
that.
off in the hearse with
It's
the Big
really
Show
close.
riding the
The
coffin.
casket.
They also
Wrestling.
they have a ballad song because they're a punk band. They have a ballad song called "I'm Ugly" and I don't know why.
Jesus.
I got nothing else for my week.
Yeah.
All right. For you passengers, if you have other interesting magic,
That was mildly threatening.
if you have other interesting Magic the Gathering or glass shattering news you want to tell us,
Door glass shattering news.
you can always email us at travelersontheomnibus.com at
No,
gmail.com.
we don't
Dot
have.
com.
We don't have a website, but we have
Dot
an email.
com.
We're on We're Canadian.
Canadian?
Yeah. Travelers. Somebody look up www.travelersontheomnibus.ca and
No.
see if we're on the.
I'm good.
Maybe we're a Canadian health site.
Google might want my driver's license number to find out whether
Yeah.
or not.
Let's try this email again.
Yeah.
Travelers on the omnibus at gmail.com.
Yes.
All one word, lowercase 1L.
Yeah.
There you go.
Good news, Jay. You don't have to try to get us on Stitcher anymore because at the end of August it's going away forever.
Yeah,
It's not going to be a thing.
I want to get on Stitcher the last day Stitcher exists.
Yeah,
That'd be great. We'll be the last podcast on
I love
Stitcher.
that none of the places where other places where I listen to podcasts also have all the podcasts that are on Stitcher, so I have to split them up now. That's really fun. I love that.
Speaking of places where they can listen to us, Jody, where can they listen to us?
Saga.
Saga, yes.
That's Spotify, Apple, Google, and Amazon Music.
Yes.
Here we go, yes.
And you could also message us directly on Spotify and take part in any polls we may have, which we always have.
Yep.
Yes. Jay, do we have any feedback?
We have one feedback. It's actually from me. It is a mea culpa from the feedback from last week. So I identified Kevin Gallo, aka Ronan Roosta on Twitch, as the person who
Now who has Kevin Gallo on the brain?
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
There you go. But no, as the person who mentioned that we kind of pushed the anime fights aside, that was incorrecto. That was actually our friend Jarrett Hubbard from Silence Your Cell Phones who actually made that statement. So I have to mea culpa to Jarrett and possibly also to Kevin for because I don't know if necessarily he believed that way, but no, never know. But Jarrett, my apologies, brother. I'm very sorry. And again, I am glad that you enjoyed the
Yes,
episode.
that was all Jay's fault.
All me. 10 out of 10. There you go. That's it for feedback this week.
I do believe that's everything up until our main event, which is right now. I believe we've talked about what tonight's topic is before.
When we went over Beast last week.
We are going to be discussing hidden movement board games.
Mm-hmm.
To those of you that do not know what hidden movement games are, it is a board game in which there's two sides. There's one side, which is a group of people that have a common goal, which involves finding out where the opposing team is. While the opposing team is typically one person that the other team does not know where they are. With whatever board you're playing on, you have spaces of movement. The other team, they have their own little characters they move around, but you do not have a game piece. You have a tiny board with like a divider that allows you to track your movement, so that way you know where your piece is.
There are some hidden movement games where everybody is moving in the dark. Escape the Aliens from Outer Space is probably the one that comes most to mind on that.
I think Nuns on the Run also.
Nuns on the Run is most. There is I think there's like a.
It's been so long since I played that.
For
game.
lack of a better term, there's a nun master that's looking for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And there is that.
It's the opposite. It's hidden movement. It's usually you have one person doing moving hidden, where in that one you have multiple people doing the hiding and one person you can see where.
So it's hide and seek the board game.
Yeah, sort of.
Basically, kind of encapsulate everything. Mm-hmm. It is a game where at least one or more of the people are not moving on the board. Instead, their movements are being tracked by some way that keeps them off of the board, but is still trackable so that people can find them.
And sometimes it can be the whole table. And I'll get to that game later on when we're talking about.
And so the other people at this table was saying that Scotland Yard is probably one of the first hidden movement
1983,
games.
Developed by Ravensburger. Eventually gets to America, I believe, through Milton Bradley a couple years later. The big thing about it is that in 1983, it also won the Spiel des Jahres, which, for everyone who doesn't know, that's pretty much the Oscars of board gaming as far as that goes. Scotland Yard, and for me, that was my introduction to not just hidden movement board gaming, but Euro board gaming. And it was through that Milton Bradley imprint of it. What sets it off, like from the games that you're going to see at that time, like Monopoly, Trouble, Sorry, things like
Clue,
that. Clue. Your movement isn't based on randomness. You have a number of tickets. Some are for taxis, some are from the bus, some are for the underground. And you spend these tickets to be able to move. Where you spend them, you then give them to the Mr. X character. The Mr. X character is the one who's moving secret. Basically, everyone else is playing police officers trying to catch him while he is moving subtly on the board and just basically trying to run out the timer before he can get away. It is, for 1983, that thing is so far ahead of its time, in my opinion, as far as board gaming goes. Again, it drew me to the idea that you don't just need dice, you don't just need cards, you can do something else that approximates not even to say a random a plan about where you know what you're doing, but then can also maybe limit somebody's ability to do stuff because every spot on the board pretty much can be accessed through taxi, but they're very short trips. Then you have the bus, which will go a little bit longer, but there's less opportunities for that. And then you have the underground, which can cut across whole swaths of the board, but there are very few of those. So when Mr. X moves, he just writes down the number that he's moving to, but he places on his board the ticket that was used, so you know where what he used to move. In addition, at certain intervals in the game, he has to reveal himself. And so he puts his pawn on the board and say he's moved here. So again, you have this notion of usually he's off the board. When he's on that board, it's this usual aha kind of moment of where he's going to be going there. To also help in that, he also has what are called black tickets. Black tickets can be spent for any type of movement. He only gets 5 of those in the game, and once he uses them, they're gone. The other thing is that he can also use them to take ferries across the River Thames, which nobody else on the cop side is able to do. So you can actually get onto another side of the board, which is harder for them to try to piecemeal and get you out. Now, once they land on your space, you have to announce that, yeah, you're on my space, you've captured me. There's a lot of cat and mouse in that game, some variants. For a while, it was actually the main rule, but I think it became a variant. The cop could say, for just this turn, I'm not moving, but you still had to hand him a ticket of some, basically your highest being able to travel ticket. So you could be handing him an underground ticket right when he is getting to the underground and needs that ticket in order to move. There's a lot of cat and mouse in that I really enjoy. I have a more recent version of it. The Milton Bradley version is still at the house. The cats got to it, and that's all I'm going to say about that. The most recent version I have it, I got to give it to the production of Ravensburger. One of the things they have is a little ball cap in there that has Mr. X on it, and Mr. X puts the ball cap on, and that's how you know he's Mr. X.
That's pretty cool.
I appreciate that. Ravensburger has been kind of hitting it out of the park as far as production goes lately. See the Horrified games, and there's that other one that's
Villainous.
Villainous, and then pretty soon Lorcana, because I think that's also
Lorcana. Yeah.
So that is that's basically it's been 1983 again. 1983, it comes on the scene. It wins the Oscars of board gaming. For me, that's the start of modern hidden movement board games, unless somebody knows of anything that happened before that.
No,
that's the earliest one that I've ever heard of.
That's the earliest one I remember. I had a question pop up in my head while you were explaining the rules to the Scotland Yard, because I owned it and it also got destroyed.
Did it also get... The cats also get hold
No,
of it?
I never had a cat. I love cats though, but I've never had a cat. But how close is that to Letters to Whitechapel?
It's actually, of all things, there's a sequel game to Whitechapel called The Whitehall Mystery, and that plays way more like Scotland Yard than that does.
Oh, okay.
Where the similarities are in those two games, your movement is not. As Mr. X in Scotland Yard, your movement is kind of based on how they're moving, and if they're trying to jump whole swaths, it gives you the opportunity to basically jump back as well. You do start out with a number of tickets that is it is a finite pool, but you keep getting more from them, but you also keep getting more possibly of the same one, because if all they're using is taxis, you can't necessarily use up all of your big movement. I think there's also a rule in that you can't if the line would cross. Where a agent is, you can't make that move because you would get caught on the crossing. The board setup, there's numbered spots on the board, and you have to be able to connect the line, because if one of these things, and I will say this for hidden movement games, there is a point in place where you could cheat very easily with these things, because you could just say, I wrote down this number, and then. If you're playing with people like that, just get away from them. It's kind of like the love letter kind of deal, where it's like, yes, you could cheat in this game, and why would you want to play with that person? So just move on.
Yeah.
Don't cheat, particularly in something where you have that information and can't be confirmed from the other players. Otherwise, it can definitely ruin the experience. That is.
Well, there was a moment where we Jay and I cheated at Layers from Whitechapel.
That's a special. I do not apologize for that.
No.
And we will go.
I'm not saying that as if to apologize. I think that was the most justified cheating that I've ever done.
That wasn't cheating. That was saving the night.
Do we want to explain what
fuck it. No. Let's talk about what, at least in my opinion, is still the best hidden movement game of all time. At least on my box.
My all-time favorite board game of recency.
Yeah, it's Letters from Whitechapel. To me, is a perfect refinement of these rules. Again, in Scotland Yard, you're very very dependent necessarily on what the other people are doing when you are the bad guy. Here you're Jack the Ripper. You can move one circle every time. Normal. You have some special movements. Carriages allow you to move twice. Carriages also allow you to go past cops, which normally you can't do if you are moving.
Lanterns allow you to move through neighborhoods and
come out on the other side of the neighborhood, which is very unique as far as how that goes. It works really well because the map is literally Whitechapel, London. The officers are also not dependent on what you are necessarily doing. They're looking for clues. They're actually tracking where you've been and around, which you don't have in Mr. X or in Scotland Yard. The reveals in that is when you have to auto reveal yourself. So there's these moments where if you fucked up and never found any part of his trail, you have no idea where Jack is going. And again, the conceit of the game, one player is Jack the Ripper attempting the crime of the 19th century, kill 5 people in 4 nights and get home every night without ever being caught. You have 5 other people on the other side, or rather 5 tokens, and hopefully 5 other people that are playing against you, who are playing cops, who are trying to net you in and hopefully try to capture you before you can finish that off. the tension in that seat, it is the single highest tension spot in the game. And it's weird. It's because you're the monster, you're the killer, and you're the one that's fucking terrified because all the conversation has to take place in front of you. They can't just go off and say, hey, we're going to do this. No, you have to be aware of what they're saying. And so you're basing their movements and your movements off of what's going on there. And all the time, you have 5 people. They may be your best friends. They may be your wife or your husband. They may be your mother and father. And they go, I'm pretty sure he's at 163. I'm pretty sure he's one. You go over around here, and you go around here. We're going to catch him. We're going to beat the shit out of him. We're going to kill Jack the Ripper, and we're going to fight. And you're just sitting there, and you're like...
And you have to have like a poker face.
Yes. While people
a little bit.
While people are figuring out how they're going to divide and quarter you when they finally catch you because you're the murderer of murderers. And you have to be like... Yeah, cool guys. Okay.
Yeah, I'm totally not over there.
There have been many times I've played Whitechapel with Bianca and all of our friends, and she's literally plotting out my route. I'm like, how the fuck's she doing this? How does she know this?
Yeah, and it's just like, and you just have to stand there and take it.
Yeah,
it's like, or sit there and take it, depending on how your living room.
I've never gotten to play Jack.
You never get. Well, I have the box here. We have to fix this.
Yeah. We did go over. I don't know if we consider this board game hidden movement. Not especially not like the hidden movement games we're going to be talking about, but Stratego is somewhat of a hidden movement game, but it's not quite.
I can't give it that because the placement on it's chess, except you don't know where the king is.
Right.
I can give it that as far as
that's true.
That is true. That is 100%
That's
the truth.
very true.
It has hidden information, but the movement is never
that's
secret.
Funny.
Yeah.
That is.
I have to agree.
Yeah. We had an asshole that would just flip the king over and say, "Here he is. Come get the general." And he would win everybody. He would beat the fuck out of everybody. It was terrifying.
Damn.
Some people are just way too good at certain games.
Yeah.
Just the way it is.
What's the story that you and Brady are alluding to?
Okay, so have we explained enough of the rules? Basically, Jack moves on circles, similar to Mr. X. Like he goes from 129 to 130, whereas the officers move on crossings. In Scotland Yard, they're also moving on circles. The crossings can basically be where you can trap somebody, and what circles where your square
there's fewer
touches.
circles, so it's quicker to move around on the circles, and there's more of the little crossing square areas to move around on.
But with the crossing squares, you can guess areas, like you can ask for clues or you can make an arrest, and if you got that's there. We played with a person. Names have been admitted to protect the guilty, and there is a right way and a wrong way to play Letters from Whitechapel. You really want.
There's a smart and a stupid way to play.
I would say it's a right and a wrong way. Like you can win with the wrong way, but you have to be very precise. And I'll get into the logistics of it here. But at very least in the first round, you cannot necessarily be guessing where Jack's hideout is, because Jack's hideout is his endpoint every single night. That is the one constant in it. He can murder in the first round in the west side of Whitechapel, and the next round it's the east side of Whitechapel. But all points end up at that single point. So we had played round 1.
Oh, something else we need to explain. So Jack is trying to kill these white pawns.
Yeah. That's true.
Usually one a night. There's one night where he does 2.
Yeah, the third night is the double.
So he will tell you, okay, this one's been killed, so you know where he's like started out at. Like he was on this spot, killed this person, and then he makes a move, and then you don't know where he's at from there, and you're trying to find those clues. So that
gives you a basis of where to
that gives you
looking.
where to start. So and you have a person who can. A different person's the boss every round, and they get to decide where all our pawns are.
Thematically, this game is just
the theme is pretty strong for how, in my opinion, kind of bare bones the actual game is, because there's just not a lot in the game. Not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing, but that's just my view of it. But that's go
fair.
ahead. Yeah,
100% fair. So the right way to me in the game, if you are playing the cops, is the first thing you need to get clues. You absolutely need to get clues. It's not just enough to know where the murder happened and how many spaces between the murder and the end goal you are. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work that way, because if you don't have that map in the first round, it's too late by the second and third rounds to start kind of piecing that out, particularly by the third round, because with the double event, you have one murder. You basically place two murders in different parts of town, and they have to, and you don't know where his murders usually have been, or rather his path has usually been. You can't necessarily know then, or can't narrow it down, which is the murder spot he's coming from. So there's a lot of bad in that. So we got through the first round, and nobody got a single clue off of me. However, this person plotted the number of things, and they thought this is where his hideout is. This is absolutely where his hideout is. In a game with like over 140 spots, with no clues other than the spot where the murder happened, this spot and this spot alone is where he's got to be. They were off by at least 4 spaces. So when the next round started out, they were the boss. They placed everybody in the neighborhood that they thought that my hideout was.
And what you usually want to do is put some people near each of the pawns. So when they are...
Unless you have some idea from the first one, it's like, okay, this is where we think it was... Okay, we'll keep 1 or 2 over here to make his last moves in there kind of difficult.
But oftentimes you'll at least go, hey, we're just going to put one person over here just in case.
But with no evidence,
Nothing
they're
to
all
go
over
on.
here,
Nothing to go on.
And... I killed on the exact opposite side
and of course,
the board.
when it's revealed, he kills on way over on the other side.
Because there's this thing called the suspense grows, where Jack instead of marking his kill, he can go, okay, I want to check to see if this is a patrol, and some of the patrols are false. So it's like, oh, this is a false patrol. I know no one's going to be here. The boss then gets to move the wretched around, which are the white pawns, which are the victims of Jack. They can move them around, which is cool. Again, that's cool too. But if everybody's east and I've got three targets west, I'm picking the most west target I can. And then by the time you've gotten over there, I'm already 2/3 of the way home.
Yeah.
That round took an hour and 15 minutes. Because in addition to that, it was also an argument with them. It's like, I'm keeping mine over here because I know his hideout's over here. Now you don't even have the net has walked off, but you're going to guard this one spot that has 3 entrances to, and don't know. And so go. All right. And then argument.
Double down on the misinformation or no information.
An hour and 15 minutes. That game should take 2.5 hours.
Right.
For 4 rounds.
That one round took
an hour and 15. The first round took like 20 minutes.
Well, yeah.
And then because
that person wasn't in charge.
And I'm looking at Brady, I'm looking at our friend Jason Sims, I'm looking at our friends, and I see people's heads like down, and they're not down looking at the board, they're down like, why the fuck are we here? Because this person has hijacked this whole thing on a very, very bad hunch.
Wild goose chase.
Yeah, no, it's not even a good, because they're not chasing.
There's no goose.
I'm sitting here because clearly they're here.
Yeah.
They're going to be here because there's no way I'm wrong about this. When there's too many fucking options by percentages.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not even 5%. And again, to say this again, I was like 3 blocks down. They were not going to. And so I just.
And as soon as they did that, like when the reveal happened, I was like, oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. This is going to take 4 fucking ever.
And I legitimately, I did consider just spending all the tokens to get there faster. But then game-wise, I'm like, if I need one of these tokens there at the very end, just in case somebody crosses a line perfectly, I'm going to need these tokens. So, no, if they present you with dumb, don't try to be fancy.
Right.
Yeah.
Walk it in. And it's like, I'm almost home. We're an hour into this fucking round of death where this game has been completely ruined by... I guess that's another also... Alpha Gamer thing, if they try to take over the whole thing and don't try to collaborate with everybody, even if they are right, which wasn't the case in this situation, but even if they are right, you have a number of people, I won't even say players, you have a number of people that have lost their agency.
Yeah.
And okay, so literally all I'm here for is to be hands for you to fucking pick up.
Yeah, I'm just standing here for no
Yeah.
reason.
It's the same kind of thing in Pandemic, except that's completely cooperative. But like any type of games where you have to have people work together and only one person is dictating where everybody's going with it.
Yeah.
Sims, God bless him, he had a good idea, and I don't say it would have caught me, but y'all would have netted way more clues and had had a better idea where I was, and I'm just walking. But again, This one thing just kept drowning that out.
Yeah.
No, I know he's going to be here. I'm like, why? Walk. I'm home.
Was there anybody playing in that, I want to say experience, that was like new, that hadn't played either that
There was
game?
one person that this was the first time they had played
It was the
game.
first time they'd ever played Letters from Whitechapel, and we had to pull him aside in round 3,
Right.
after round
And
3,
just let him know.
and let him know. Look, man, I just want to let you know, this person has completely warped this game. So we've been conspiring to get these last 2 rounds done as quickly
we haven't even
as
gotten to the
possible.
So long story short,
Yeah.
Jay and I start
We call it conspire, yeah.
like we were literally like messaging each other. Okay,
I think
he
my
was like,
fir-
"Oh,
I-
I'm coming here."
I think my first thing to you is I'm done with this.
Yeah,
Right.
and I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm done too. Like, fuck this.
And we we read everybody that we could into it as soon as we could, except for because
person.
Yeah.
the amount of frustration that caused.
Right.
I did not want to have them have the satisfaction
Right.
because they've also done this thing before where somebody quit because they were frustrated with them and then they gloated about how they won the game.
Yeah.
Which any board game, or any game, anything.
Right.
If the reason why you won is because you annoyed people to the point they don't want to play with you, you didn't win either.
This person is also very frustrating to play RPGs.
They
with.
and the person that like had a terrible experience wins because they know not to play with that person again. You know.
Yeah. So
Because we look, this is we'll play another game of this, and we did get another game. At least I did. I don't think you were part of that. We did get another game of that. I proctored that game. I let them be Jack and let them kind of figure everything out from there. I do like proctoring these games because it gives an impartial eye, so that the person who's not supposed to be. Also, the reason why that player locked in on that strategy and why it's annoying is the one time that Censored won that game and a broken clock is right twice every time is Censored managed to I've now limited.
You're gonna have to go back and
I'm
censor all.
Yeah, because I
Censored.
for
There we
sure
go.
you were
There.
talking about.
Censored.
No.
Okay,
No.
we could censor all the way up until now.
Wait, so we had like a 20-minute come to Jesus session about this person that we were talking about. And it was very cathartic, and I feel like we've all learned something. Unfortunately, again, to protect the guilty, we will not be naming them, but it's just an idea, something I want everybody to think about. Travelers, passengers alike. Be aware that you are not in a solo player game when you are playing a board game, unless you are legitimately playing alone. You are playing with other people. You can ruin people's times, and I guess maybe as a condemnation of this type of board game, which I would also say also involves in the pure cooperative area as well.
Yeah.
Take everybody's input. It's okay to guide. You have an idea and you want to be heard, that is fine. But when you are solely taking your idea only and no other idea can even breach that, that is a problem. Be mindful of the fact that you are playing with other people.
Yeah, be mindful. Don't be a dick. That's the golden rule.
In a cooperative game, you need to cooperate.
Yes.
Yeah, I have to agree with
There
that.
you go.
There's no I in cooperate.
Yes. Now, Jody, many times he was hand signaling me. He threw a hammer at me. I ducked it because I have ninja reflexes.
He threw a wrench and he
I
dodged
threw
it.
Mjolnir at him.
He threw a steak at me. And I don't mean a delicious steak. I mean a pointy
A
one.
wooden stake.
You know what to talk about.
Yeah, a game I've never played. Fury of Dracula is also a hidden movement game, which is much like Letters to Whitechapel.
I need to just bring my collection, and we need to
I haven't
knock
played
these out.
Fury.
That sounds like an
Yeah.
amazing night.
Fury of Dracula is a really good one. It's one of my favorite hidden movement games. The only knock against it for me is that it is quite long. Like it takes a while.
When I first started hanging out up here and playing a lot of board games with Jay and you and Jody, getting familiar with all the McNub crowd. Shout out to McNubs. Jay, me and him, we talked about board games. I want to say like 2-3 hours, something like that.
Oh, easily, yeah.
And
That's my usual pitch with people I like is like, hey, do you play board games?
and
I'm a weirdo like that.
He mentioned Fury of Dracula, and I really want to try it. I've mentioned like Hidden Movement is probably like one of my all-time favorite board game type, and Fury of Dracula just sounds so much fun.
Yeah.
It can be. It's more complicated than Letters.
Yes.
In particular because in this case the hidden player, which is Dracula, has more agency. Like, he has legitimate powers. He has legitimate abilities. He has the legitimate way to stop or to intercede or to, like, downright even, like, I want to say kill, but incapacitate players that are on the board.
Slow them down.
Yeah, it's because when you find Dracula, it's not just like Whitechapel where, oh, we've arrested Jack, the game is over.
We found Jack.
We found Dracula. Oh shit! Now we have to fight Dracula.
Yeah. Oh,
so you draw this separate deck of cards, and now you're playing these cards.
We found Dracula at night.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most board games, we found the guy, we win. Fury Dracula. We found Dracula.
Oh, we
shit.
didn't. We didn't find Dracula, but he left behind a bunch of vampires for us to fight. Awesome.
Yep.
Like it's
and you have to search for those vampires, because if you don't search for them, they quote unquote rise. Basically, they get down to a progression track every time. Every time he stops in a city, he places something there. And it could be a vampire, it could be a trap, it could be something to, like, kind of heal him up or something like that. Just something that will do him good. Typically, actually, 100% of all time. But and you have to search these things, because if you don't search them and it's a vampire and the vampire is able to mature, that vampire is now out in the world, and as far as game mechanics go, he gains more dread. If he gains enough dread, the game's over. Dracula wins. That's his end goal is to get to 13 dread, which means his gloom is cast all over the continent of Europe, and he has won.
This sounds sick.
It is. I will say this, for me, I love the terror of being Jack more than I love the power of being Dracula. Because the tension in that seat as Jack, because you don't have any real way to defend yourself, you can only run.
Whereas
Dracula's like, wait, he's kind of soft. They kind of think they know where I am. Why don't I just be there? It's only going to be one of them at this time. I can whoop up on one of them, send them to a fucking hospital. And because I beat them, I advance dread. And I do all they lose items, and that I can do that. Like, you have a lot more power there. To me, the tension of that game as Dracula isn't as necessarily as there until you start getting closer to the end.
What about the other side of the table, though? What about, like, if you're part of the crew that's trying to kill Dracula? Is it more tense than it is for the investigators?
For the investigators, to me, I think it is a little more tense, especially, again, once that... So after... Is it years or seasons for as far as them going on? I think
it's seasons. It's been a very long time.
It's been a while too. But as the game goes on, Dracula's ability to create more dread becomes more and more powerful.
Yeah.
And it's basically sectioned off into 3 stages. After the 3rd stage, every time he walks on land, dread just goes up.
Yeah.
Just period. And so if at that point, then it just comes this game of, I don't have to fight these people.
Yeah.
I just run, and I just keep running. And that's when it kind of switches back to a Letters from Whitechapel. I think there is more dread for the on the board team in that game than there is for Letters from Whitechapel.
With the other side, like, you want to be prepared, but you want to basically make sure you have a good amount of, like, items and stuff. And you want to time it right, because every round is a night and a day and a night phase.
And Fury.
Yeah. So you want to time it to where, I'm catching Dracula in the daytime because he's weaker, whereas in the nighttime he's really fucking powerful and he's probably going to wreck me. Or you want to make sure that we're both there at the same time, where it's 2 people hitting on him, as opposed to just one person, because then you might do a little bit of damage, but he's probably just going to run away.
But then the problem comes there is, if you clump up and if you want to get into these fights with Dracula with as much advantage as you can, you have like 2 or 3 people. That means you have like 2 or 1 other person that has to cover the whole rest of Europe.
Yeah,
right.
The whole rest of Europe. One of the best plays I ever made in one of these games, it was in Fury. I was Dracula and I was on the sea. Now the sea allows him to access a lot more areas. It gives him a lot more touch and footing, so where he can finally land on.
It's not exactly, you can't go, he was here, so he has to be here now. He's on this part of the sea.
Yeah,
he could go here. He could go to 5 or 6.
He could be in Italy. He could be in Spain. He could be in France. We just don't know. So I was up in the North Sea, in the North Baltic, and I can land in Northern Europe, or I can land in England, or rather in Great Britain. I landed in Great Britain, but as soon as I did that, as they were closing in on the city in northern Germany, I put roadblocks all over the one city where I would have landed at. And it's like, oh, he's got to be there, he's got to be there, he's got to be there. So the whole team moved towards that area. Meanwhile, I'm just dotting around England, just soaking up all those points, putting vampires down everywhere. And when they finally got it and figured it out, it was too late. And I amassed a huge amount of dread points, and eventually was just able to walk it off, and I ended up winning. That's one of the things about this. Misdirection is so key to these games when you are the hidden player. If you can make an entire table think you've done X when you've done Y,
right?
Oh, it's one of the most satisfying feelings in the world.
Going back to Whitechapel, there was a variant that the game has where it can be played 2 people, where one person is Jack and the other person controls all 5 of the cops.
You can play with as many people as the game will allow. And the reason why it goes up to it's 6 total, because you have 1 Jack and you have 5 cops. There's 2 ways to play this game, in my opinion, as far as player counts. There's the 6-player version where everybody is a police officer and you have a Jack, or 2-player where one person is Jack and the other person is every other police officer.
Yeah.
Because then you have this, I'll say it, Stratego-like thing where you're looking for the general and you have all of the other pieces. You can play with 3 or 4 or 5, but that means one person is doubling up on officers, which also means that they're doubling up chances on being the boss, which does affect the game enough to where, and also you also have to like, okay, I'm going to move this, and then I also have to move this, which to me also leads to alpha gamers saying, well, since I'm already moving 2, why don't you move the way I'm moving this?
Yeah. A thing about this, most of these hidden movement games that I'm thinking that we're going to talk about, that we have talked about, can be played like that, where it can be a 2-player game where one person is just playing all of the people and the other person is playing. Sometimes I think with Fury of Dracula, that's probably a little bit harder because there's a lot of upkeep, but there's a lot of these other games where you could very well play all of the people versus the one person.
Yeah, and let me co-sign on that real quick. You can do the 2-player where one person's Dracula and the other person is all 4 people. And okay, because you have all these things, all these actions you can take. In letters, it's I move here.
Right.
I will investigate, or I'll investigate here, or I'll arrest here. You can rest, search. They have all of these options of things that you're going to do, and it changes whether or not you're doing in the day or night certain actions.
Yeah.
And you have so much that you have to do for just one character. Now multiply that by 4.
Yeah.
Fuck no.
Yeah.
Like you can do it. You can also like Chris Rock, you say you can drive a car with your feet. You shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
You're going to crash more than anything else, but you can do it.
Yeah. Some are easier or harder than other ones. Yeah.
There was one play where I'm Jack and she's playing all 5 of the cops. I kill someone, and what I do is I move down the main central road, and what I do is I double back on that same road, so that way my footsteps kind of like stop in a dead track. And she's going through. She's like figuring out, okay, he might have landed here, he might have landed here, he might have carriaged right here, so I'm not seeing the space. But no, I just doubled back and I went to my house. I was right beside the spot where I had my murder happen. And so she's going throughout the rest of the game, just like, where did you go after this? I can't figure out where you went. And it's like, okay, I didn't just plan that and double back.
I actually think playing these games like a 2-player thing is potentially harder than playing it with multiple people, because you're the only person who's thinking, okay, where are these? Where are they going? So you're making all the decisions, and your biases could affect that. Whereas somebody else playing it could be, they think about things in another way. What if he did that?
There's no other insight that
you can get tunnel vision very easily. Yeah, I think one of the things that I like about like Fear of Dracula, as opposed to like, I like Whitechapel, but it's just not my favorite. Like, it's actually I would prefer to play other hidden movement games than it, because to me it is plain to me. And Fear of Dracula doesn't have that. Like, all the other side, they have powers and you have items and stuff like that. That's why most of of my favorite hidden movement games all take they add stuff onto it where it's a little bit more where people have like powers and different things like that.
And also there's a difference in mechanics, like just really quick with Fury. Because of the day night, if you like are looking for aid during the day, you're getting good stuff and you're actually deleting bad stuff from the deck. Whereas at nighttime, if you're looking for stuff, you draw from the bottom of the deck, and if it's good, great. But if it's bad, you don't get it. It goes to Dracula. So that's the way Dracula masses his power. It's all connected to night. Again, that's another very... I'm willing to say this. Hidden movement games are very good at capturing theme and being able to put that into physical stuff on the board.
We got to play Sniper Elite.
Sniper Elite.
Yeah.
We played that last week.
Yeah.
This is another one where the difference in this one is you have one person playing the sniper. This takes place during World War II. The other people are playing the Germans, the Nazis.
The Nazis.
The Germans. But the interesting thing about this one is it's not just, if you're playing against 3 other people, you're not playing against 3 different pawns. You're playing against 3 squads. There's a leader and then two like lesser guys there. So
you have 2. Each squad has a captain, which each player has a different captain ability.
Yeah.
And beneath the captain, you have 2 regular foot soldiers.
In the variant we played, right? There's another variant where there's like different amounts of people in the squad, or am I wrong?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
But yeah, the interesting thing about this one is that the sniper can actually has like a really strong power because he's a fucking sniper, so he can shoot anybody, on the board as long as he has line of sight to them. The problem is that, you're drawing these tokens from a bag and you have to get as many aim tokens as spaces that you need. So if he's 6 spaces away, you need 6 aim tokens. So if you can see him across the board, you could maybe hit him, but you're probably not because you only start with 11 tokens.
And you can't necessarily like shoot through rooms. You know?
And in that bag of tokens, you also have recoil and
misfire.
Recoil and noise tokens.
Noise.
If you draw 2 noise tokens, you're revealed because you fucked up and you made too much noise.
Yeah.
If you draw 5 total noise or recoil, you fail the shot, and you're exposed.
Right.
So you have to be very careful as weighing. Okay, I really need to take this person out because they might be literally standing on the spot that you need to go to because you have 2 objectives that you're trying to do. So it's like, oh shit, I need to take this motherfucker out. Let me see if I can get a little bit closer because if you move too quickly, then you got to tell them, hey, this guy heard a noise. Whereas if you just move like 1 space, you're moving silently.
Right. So for the listeners, there's a difference between like pulling noise tokens out of the bag and like actually causing noise. Because as a sniper, which is what I played, you can move 0 to 1 spaces and not cause any noise for the characters that are around you. But if you move 2 to 3 spaces, if you walk past, even if they're in another room, if you walk past another model on the board, they know that you walked past them.
Yeah. You don't tell them where, but you just point to that.
You say, I'm in this area.
Hey, this person heard noise around.
Right.
But yeah,
and it goes back again to like that theme thing. Like that is thematically very good.
Yeah. I was proud of myself. Like the first half of that game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so, I fucked up on some rules. I take credit for that. I wasn't clear about some things.
So I moved as many spaces as I could when nobody was around, and then I moved 1 at a time when I could. And I had a card that actually let me move up to 3 spaces that's revealed at the end of the game without making any noise. So I planned out my entire movement from the beginning based off of what everybody was doing, and I went into a hallway. Now, the hallway was only like 2 or 3 spaces, and then there was a door. There was no way I was shooting through that door, but I still shot my gun anyway. So that they would think I was somewhere else. That was like my big strategy move.
I like that.
That was the one that played out, and that I was actually able to get to my first objective without anybody knowing where I was.
Yeah.
Which there's 2 objectives that you have to complete.
Now, whenever you complete your first objective, it completely reveals where your character is
right.
located.
Right.
Yeah. and it wasn't clear that okay, then after his turn,
After we move into the second phase
then
of the game.
then it becomes the other team's turn.
Yeah.
And that kind of fucked up, and we need to play it again.
We'll play it again.
Oh, yeah,
since we have clear.
We got there's a lot of these.
But
Dracula's Fury or Fury of Dracula.
yeah, but yeah, it's interesting because I like that you're playing. If you're on the other side, you're playing a squad. I think the tension is probably really high. I haven't played with this as the sniper, but I would imagine like this.
I was sweating the whole time.
It's very tense, but also you do have potential because if you succeed in a shot, you just remove that. Like it's not like there's no defense against that because you're a fucking sniper, so you can just take them off the board.
As a captain, though, don't you have a power where you can put somebody back the next round or something? Or
if you pick if you have that particular power, yeah. You can as an action, but you're having to. But each squad only gets 2 actions per round.
Right.
So you're having to. So instead of searching or attacking or sweeping or doing any of these other things, looking for somebody, you're having to put somebody back on the board.
Right.
You're spending resources and time in order to...
Well, literally, you're literally losing half of a turn trying to do that.
Yeah, you're slowing the other side down. Like I said, if it would have been more clear how the turn structure actually worked, because I fucked up and made it kind of sound like, we kind of start over where he gets a hit in movement. It would have been better to because you have 10 rounds to complete each objective.
Each objective, yeah.
So, the better thing probably would have been to either like hold off or a little bit.
Well, yeah, if I would
because unless we we can only attack unless you're a special. And it didn't help that we had the special guy who could attack the next.
Yeah, if I would have known we weren't resetting after the first round, I would have shot your captain. Right there.
You could have shot the captain.
That would have been
because you can draw as many tokens as you have in your bag. Like you can be right next to him and say, "I'm going to draw 11 tokens." That's really really bad, because you have to draw that many tokens. But you could be right next to somebody and say, "I'm going to draw 4 tokens." And you're probably going to be able to shoot somebody.
I would have drawn 4 at least.
And that throws them off because if you are right next to him, you say, "I'm just going to draw 1 token," and you draw a token and then kill somebody. Then they're like, "Oh shit, he's in one of these spaces."
Right. Which is that was the kind of strategy, like I said, where I shot into the hallway where nobody was there, and I'm sitting there trying to play poker, with because it was like you guys and Connell. And they're like, well, he couldn't have been here because he couldn't have shot through this door. And I'm like, you keep thinking that.
I'm trying to map out. Okay, so he shot 4 spaces away, so he has to be somewhere around here.
Yeah, and let me say so the map is like you got you have like a big square that has like sections of like little mini squares inside of them as far as everything's sectioned off, and they're all color coded. There's like a yellow section, a red section, a black section, and whatever.
White.
White section. And as the hidden movement player, you have your own little dry erase board that has the whole map on it. And what I was doing when I was marking where I was moving is I was turning it every time so they couldn't tell the position of my pin. I didn't want them to know what I was doing, so I was doing that as well. That was a fun game. I really enjoyed it.
I feel like I would like that game if we played it a couple more times.
Oh yeah,
that sounds like something.
I think it does a little bit. It does some different things.
I also like that it's a good player count. 4, I think, is very solid. Especially for this genre.
Yeah. And it's kind of freeform to where you could play with less players and you just because I think you always have the three squads. It's just if say you're playing with 3 players, you just share that other squad that you're not, because the way the German round goes is that anybody can take their actions in any order. It's not that I have to take my 2 actions, then you have to. I can take 1 action, then you can. Okay, well I'll do this, and then I take my 1 action. So it's not. So it's very free form. So it's not super necessary that everybody it could be very easily with less player count to do that, because there's some of these where they do change it drastically, and that can be kind of annoying. So yeah. What do we want to do next?
Spectre Ops.
Spectre Ops. Yeah. Well, that's a good lead in, because I think Spectre Ops, you have to be very careful with how you do the player count with that, because it does change wildly what you do. With that one, it can go up to 5, but I think 4 is the best with this one, because at 5, the hidden person, the agent, in this one you're an agent trying to get intel from these certain spots, and the other guys are hunters,
and
this is like futuristic stuff where
it's 4 zones on the board, and you have to pick it up from each one of these 4 separate zones, and then also get out. And so they're all kind of like going around,
and everybody has like crazy powers. Like one dude's a fucking one guy hunting you is a fucking werewolf, and they have all these powers, and one guy's a fucking sniper, it's very, very sci-fi, but it's very interesting. The agent also has like powers as well, and has special upgrades that they can get depending on who they are.
There's also a robo car that can take the whole team
you have
around.
a car that moves around like a wide area. This one's interesting, but I think like it's better at 4 because it's just a regular 3 hunters, 1 agent. Whereas in a 5-player game, the thing that I don't like about this is, okay, you hand a card to one, you hand cards out, and one of the agents is going to be one of the 4 agents is going to be a traitor. So they're actually helping you. And if they get revealed, like it's not, it's kind of, it's a little bit sweaty where they're not really doing anything after that.
Well, and then also like with that, and this is, and maybe you can clear this up for me. They don't know they're a traitor. Is that right?
It's been a while.
Did they not look at the card?
I think they know. They know.
Okay.
I think they would have to know. I think,
because
I've never played it at 5 players because I don't want to do that.
If I remember correctly, in Spectre Ops, you self-reveal whenever they would have line of sight on you, and whenever you cross the line of sight of that person, you don't have to.
Yeah, if I cross, say an open area where somebody can see me straight down, I have to put at the end of my movement, I have to put at the last place they would have saw me, I have to put my token down there, my figure.
Okay.
I think that they do know. I think that they have to know, or else like and that's a problem with, like, I really do like that game. I might end up getting rid of this since I have 2 other hidden movement games, because I think Sniper Elite does the job that one does. But I do still like it. It's a very nice game. I like that, like, the powers are very interesting. Like, it adds a different flavor to it.
It's never the same board game twice because there's more.
But I think you only really can play that at, like, that's only good at 4 players. Like, that's the thing with that one.
Because there's more guards than there are like player count. So like the werewolf may not even be something that played. It's like somebody completely different.
Yeah.
So we've talked about snipers. We talked about snipers hunting agents. Let's talk about just agents in general. Let's talk about what many consider like one of the best refinements in recent years of hidden movement games. Let's talk about mind management.
Oh yeah. This is a really good one.
Mind management is a game that Brady introduced me to,
Mm-hmm.
and I love it. I loved it so much. Bianca actually got it for me as a birthday present.
Yeah, mind management is based off of a comic that I've actually been meaning to get the omnibus for it to start reading, because it does seem very interesting. It's about these psychics, and then there's this secret organization that's recruiting psychics. And so one person plays the recruiter, where they're trying to go out and find people, and then you have the rogue agents who are also psychics, who are going out and trying to find the recruiter.
It's very interesting because it's not traditional. Like the recruiter moves in circles, and everyone else moves in alternate spaces.
Mm-hmm.
It's more so like a grid, almost like Sniper Elite.
Yeah.
In which each grid has different icons. Like there's a billboard, there's a moped or a bus or palm trees or tiki torches that identify.
Yeah. Each square. So it's basically I can't remember what city it's supposed to be.
In my brain, to me, it's either Southern Florida or Southern California.
No, it's like a South Europe or North African city.
Oh, okay.
It's like Morocco or some shit like that.
Morocco would be that. Whoa! I really dig that setting. Shit.
It has a really good like theme setting.
Yeah.
Like thematically.
Another thing that I like about it is it's one of the first hidden movement games I've seen where smaller player counts means like letters, you have to have all 5 cops on the board. Scotland Yard, you have to have all 5 cops on the board. You have to play all 4 people in Fury of Dracula. This is one of the first ones I've seen where you can have less players on the board and it's still playable.
Yeah. Well, the way it works is so the entire city is in a grid, and every square in the grid has 2 landmarks in it. And as the rogue agents, you can move to there and point to one of those. Hey, have you been to any places that have this landmark? And they look on their little sheet where they're moving, and then if they've been to one of those places, they're going to take these little footprints, which are clue tokens, and they're going to put it somewhere that they've been. If they've been to multiple with that same thing, they only have to put it on one.
Yeah.
And then the agents can go and spend an action for that clue token to where, okay, I have to write down exactly where I was on
what turn.
What turn was I there?
Specific location.
I have as the recruiter, I have cards that say, okay, I need to get to places with this landmark or this landmark, and I can recruit people.
Yes.
And I'm trying to recruit so many people per before the end of the round.
I think it's like 14 recruits that you need or something.
Yeah, it's there. So there's an intro game, and then there's the full game.
Yeah. We played the intro game.
Yeah, we played the intro game because it's just pared down with the rules.
The intro game, the rogue agents do. The agents have their own special psychic abilities.
Yeah.
And the recruiter has his ability. In the intro game, the rogue agents do not have their abilities, but the recruiter still has their ability.
Yeah, they have a special movement, whereas the other guys have a special power depending on what's happening. There are also in the full game there are
henchmen.
They're called immortals, I think is what they're called, and you can use that to block people, because if an immortal is at this spot, they can't ask for landmarks on that spot or any spot that those same landmarks are on.
And then there's also like roadblocks that
there are chaos roadblocks that get put up to where nobody can cross that. The immortals, if they're on a spot, you can if they're on if 2 of them are on the spot with this extra card that you have, you can recruit from the immortals. But since the immortals are on there, the rogue agents can take an action to reveal one of the landmarks that the recruiter has. So that's one less place that they can recruit from. So there's a lot of give and take. It also has an interesting thing called the shift system, where you can play multiple games of this. It's not like a legacy or anything like that, but if you play a game depending on who won, so if the recruiter won, he's going to open up the first recruiter shift package, and it's going to give him some extra little thing that he can play in the game that makes it a little bit harder for the other side. And if they win, then they get to open up this package. I've looked through them, and it's some pretty interesting stuff. It's just little bitty tweaks on the game. And you can really just like open them all up and be like, okay, well, this game we're going to play with this thing and this thing, one recruiter thing and one agent thing. So it's a really interesting system. I don't know if I would ever play enough to actually like do it how they say to do it, but it is interesting to give it. So, hey, we've played this game a whole lot. We're getting bored. Let's throw in this little wrinkle.
Let's spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, let's spice it up a little bit. There's also like little things, little people that give the rogue agents an extra power once per game or something like that.
In terms of like playability, I'm more so drawn to mind management than than the others. Like it's like very like bright, vibrant colors.
Yeah, most of these other ones that we've talked about are very like kind of drab, kind of muted, kind of dark.
You may not believe this, but Fury of Dracula is mostly in red scale.
Yeah.
Go bigger.
Yeah. Whereas this one is very bright, very vibrant.
You're playing on a comic book.
Yeah, you're playing like the art style for the comic book and the game is like super crazy. It even comes with like a little like a red red see-through thing to where there's like different writing on the board on the because the whole thing is like you don't like it's kind of if like MK Ultra was through psychics and not through slipping people LSD, where you're trying and the mind
actual psychics
and
instead
the
of
mind
attempting to be
and the
psychics.
mind control was like real and shit from
The
psychic.
MK Ultra victims thought they were psychic.
Yeah,
at one point.
Yeah, especially that one guy who threw himself off a building. But yeah. So like paranoia is like a big thing with the comic book and everything like that. But yeah, I really enjoy that game. It's a really fun, interesting game. I realized I'm probably not very good at hidden movement games because I really fucked up in that first game where I taught Ethan and Bianca.
I mean, I had a blast.
Yeah, I mean, and then like it's like as soon as I fucked up and they won in like 15 minutes, Ethan was like, "Hey, can I play? Can I play as the guy?" I was like, "Sure." Hey,
We got down to the very last turn, and then Bianca had her like beautiful mind moment. Was like, "Oh, holy shit! I know his belt.
Yeah.
I know exactly what he did."
yeah, you can't play these games with her. She's
Anytime I'm
in your head.
terrified to like play hidden movements with her because she's like, "Okay, don't even." This is what she's ruined playing Clue with me. Because she's always like within like 10 minutes she's always like, okay, I know who did it. Just no,
Yeah,
it's over. You can try your best, but you're not gonna get it right.
Clue's not the worst board game of that generation of classic board games, but it really sucks when you know what's happening and you roll a 2 instead of a 3.
that's the main problem with Clue. If Clue didn't have the
she's like a wizard.
That's why Mysterium's on my top 5.
Yeah,
It's
Mysterium
Clue
is so
with
good.
way better mechanics.
And what was the other one they made?
Obscuria.
Obscuria.
I like Mysterium a
Obscuria
whole
is
lot
very
better.
fun.
I think I like them
Obscuria.
both about the same, but I haven't played them both enough to really gauge which one I prefer one over the other.
I think both are very good. I prefer Mysterium, and just as the quick little thing for co-op games in our hidden movement special. Just I would say, if you're going to get Mysterium Park. It plays less people. It's a little bit more compact. I still love Mysterium. I'm not getting rid of that anytime soon.
I think I prefer Obscurio because of like the secret trader.
See,
element
that's
to it.
why I don't prefer it over
Right.
Mysterium,
Yeah.
is because
Yeah.
if I'm teaching a game, I don't have to worry. I can actually sit down and play Mysterium with my friends, whereas if I'm presenting Obscurio, the first game of it, I need to set away from, because there is a hidden trader. That person has a completely, not just separate, but diametrically opposed. They want to make sure nobody gets out. The other guys are trying to make sure that they get out.
Yeah.
And so if I'm trying to explain this game and like I'm telling this other people, well, you might want to be able to do that. Oh, I'm then pointing out who the person is.
Yeah.
And I dislike that kind of setup with that. Again, they're both very good games.
Yeah. So neither of those are hidden movement.
No,
games.
those are
Just
So,
shout out
If you
games.
blindfold
Shout outs.
everybody at the table,
yeah.
then everyone's movement is hidden.
Yes, blindfold everyone playing Mysterium.
Yeah, that would be a fucking nightmare.
Yeah. That's when you find out who the true psychics
Yeah.
are.
Or you
Worse
have
than playing
someone
with
who
certain
is
people as the ghost.
or you have someone who is shit at the ghost 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
It was
No.
I know who you're referencing, but my reference is it was a fucking lion. I give a clue that has a lion on it to like, hey, this thing has a lion on it. And everyone's like, oh, clearly it's the boat.
I played
Yeah.
with 2 people who have been absolutely
Shit at
atrocious
being
ghosts.
ghosts. Yeah.
Well, one of them we actually got to play the game, so there was at least that.
Yeah.
Are there any more hidden movement games we want to mention?
There's a very big one. I just want to touch on Beast very quickly because we
Yeah.
did go over it a little bit last week. So again, card drafting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I before seeing this game, I never envisioned that as a mechanic you could add to these games. To me, it adds so much more to the hidden movement style of thing because other people could dictate how you move on the board.
Good luck if you're the beast.
Good luck-
I'm just
good
saying.
luck.
Yeah, the fact that like if you want to move, you have to get a card that says I get to move.
Well, I wouldn't say good luck if you're the beast. It was good luck that I had a card that said I get to move twice.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you would have won.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that one came down right.
Oh
to the
yeah, it
bitter
was
end on that one.
it was perfectly. If you would have had the power or whatever to actually use that card that fucked up his hunt card.
I am more so like discussing, like talking about the The fact that y'all are limiting me on my attacks. Like,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah, they're going to do that.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons
You
why
killed me during second round. I didn't do anything. I moved once and died.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a big point. Yeah,
Yeah.
Let's not pretend that Ethan was just he had nothing. No.
I was convinced we had lost that game when that happened.
Beast is a good mix that I really like because there are like powers and things like that, and depending on which beast you play against, like that's a big difference of how it plays. And the card drafting is an extra wrinkle on top of that gives you something extra compared to some other I'm for me, like if I'm gonna play or be really interested in a hidden movement game, it's got to give me a little bit something extra than
different.
just the hidden movement.
Yeah.
And I do like the duality of the cards, like we explained last time when we were talking about like there's
Each card has a hunter half and a
You have to every time you get your hand, you have to think, okay, I really need this, but I really don't want him to get that. Okay, I'm gonna pass this to Jody. Maybe I can take this, and then he will take this because he doesn't, he needs this maybe. Like there's a lot of decisions just in that part.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting, and the aesthetic is really nice. I like the old like the almost Eastern European fantasy.
it's very fairy
type
tale
thing.
/ Nordic.
Yeah.
kind of
I get more so Nordic feelings.
Well, I think
For
it's
me,
like
I get
pretty
almost
much-
like Slavic.
It's very Slavic fairy tale. Folk,
I
folk.
like it's a dark Grimm's fairy tale.
Yeah,
like
grim,
Grimm's
dark,
fairy
dark,
tale,
grim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Germanic.
Germanic,
Another
yeah.
one.
The game has a frog in it, so
Yeah.
obviously it's the best game.
Yeah,
of
it's-
all time.
I'm pretty
It's,
sure that's the reason why it sold him.
Yeah,
he didn't care about
probably.
he saw a frog.
I didn't get to Boljan is cool, and it ends up being like my favorite in there because one of his movement cards is you're on the west side, now you're on the east side of the board. Congratulations, because he just jumps a long way, and then
That's funny.
he's a necromancer frog that creates polyp zombies.
He's a frognomancer.
Yeah, it's very great.
Frognomancer.
But then they have a boar, and his name is Hogbad, and it doesn't get more explicit than that.
Yeah. He really had no chance when his parents named him Hogbad.
Yeah, it's like, meanwhile, his brother Hoggood went to college.
Yeah,
His parents paid for the whole thing. It's just fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think we're about ready to end this up. So let me end this on what I think is the biggest, and for a convention, the best hidden movement board game, Captain Sonar.
Oh, okay.
This is, in my opinion, this is the convention game because
I don't usually think of this one as a hidden movement, but it's definitely.
I racked
it's definitely
my brain
a component. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and it's a big component.
It's timed.
you can put it's real time.
It's real time.
Yeah, so it's
So
real
you're
time
racing
battleship.
against the other people.
So 6 to 8 players to me is 6 or 8. You don't want to play with an odd number of players because then one team doesn't have is the same as the other team. You can run it down as small as 4. I would prefer the game Sonar.
I was about to say, I think that the Sonar makes it to where you can play
2
with
versus
less,
2.
less players, and it's actually manageable.
it's built into Captain Sonar that you can play it turn based with when you have less players. And also if you have a group that just can't get the timing right, because again, you are a submarine versus another submarine. You are a crew of it, and you each have specific stations. Mm-hmm. And depending on how those stations work, it's like whether or not you can actually do the things you want to do. It's like, okay, I want to fire torpedoes. Can't. I broke the torpedoes. Engineer, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay, we got to get this shit clear. Surface. And all of this is happening in real time. Mm-hmm. The main part here that it's hidden movement is the captain gives the order to move, however. You have to say this loud enough so that the sonar operator on the other side can hear it. Mm-hmm. They have a map of and there's islands around the place, and so depending on how this person had to turn, how this works, this is the way it has to be. So you're just kind of following along with them as they're announcing that. And I will say this game needs a proctor, and because of how chaotic that game can get, even if you're not trying to cheat, you may accidentally do it because in your brain you're like, head west, and then you mark east. But it's not because you're trying to cheat. It's because all of this stuff is going on, and the person to your right is the person you need. It's like, I need you to focus on what they're doing, and so you're thinking right, and so you're moving right rather than doing west. That's happened to a few players before. So someone watching over and making sure that's going good is fine. The hidden movement obviously is you're both submarines. You're under the water. You can't see each other, so you each have a different starting spot. I've had one instance where the teams picked the exact same spot to start in.
Jesus.
And they moved in completely opposite directions, and I'm just standing there, and I'm like, if y'all only knew. Oh, my God. You could have just started shooting each other there.
This game is so fucking tense because I've never gotten to beat anybody but the fucking captain, which is really intense, or the fucking sonar operator, which is also really fucking intense.
You are the best sonar operators that's ever run in that game, and I'm gonna tell you
thank
what.
you.
You know, I say that because that, again, the captain's got to make sure everybody is alive by maneuvering away from them while at the same time maneuvering towards them to shoot them. So that's a lot of pressure.
The captain has his own map where he's moving, and then the radio operator has a map, but then they also have an overlay, so they're listening to the other side and trying to figure out, okay, oh shit, he couldn't have moved this way because the island, he would move into an island, he can't do that.
I need to ask, was Brady in that game where the two submarines started in the same
I
spot?
don't think so.
No, you weren't.
Okay.
You weren't.
I haven't played that, like, real-time games, like, they're not my favorite type of game. Like, I'm really, like, it has to be, like, a super interesting game for me nowadays to play a real-time.
So,
like, I have to be, like, really on it.
In order to sometimes clear your sub of the, not of the damages taken, but your systems being broken, you have to surface. And then you have to play this mini game with your team where you have to trace an outline of one of the 4 sections of the sub, and you have to do it perfectly. Because if the engineer on the other team spots that you'd like dipped in or out there, they basically have to force.
Yeah, you do it, and then you hand it to the other guy,
to the other engineer, and he goes, "Okay, this is all." And you also have to initial your part.
Also, the other side is fucking moving this entire time.
They're moving because when you surface,
and the radio operator cannot touch a thing while this is happening.
No one
so
else.
You have to remember where they're moving.
The only thing you can do is do the mini game, and typically the sonar operator is the last one to do the mini game because they're the last one in the chain, starting from the engineer. Yeah. This man is the only one I've ever seen where it's like he's staring at the other captain, can't write any of this down. It's like north, west, east, east again. All right, it's like you were literally plotting it out on your hand and like doubling up on the fingers, and then when the thing came over to you, you did the drawing, got everything perfect, sent it back there. And
that was a savant moment for me. I could not do that.
And as soon as you dived, you're like, and they immediately were able to get a shot off on them before they could get a shot off on it. It was fucking amazing. 100%.
I can't even explain how I did that. You could pay me $1 million and I could not do that today.
So let me tell you my first experience with this game.
All right.
I hadn't played. I don't think I had even played a game with Jay yet. Because we ran in different circles, and now the whole store is the same circle, thankfully. But that's just how it goes. Like when Ethan started in Magic, so and I started in Magic and all the other stuff. I started playing board games.
Was it Magic or was it Thrones D&D group?
Might have been both.
I originally started in Greg's beginner D&D.
Oh, okay.
That's right. That's right.
Which Throne was also introduced.
Right.
And then y'all broke off from that. Okay.
Yeah.
And then he introduced me to Magic, to which I was introduced to y'all.
Right.
I came up to Austin saying, "Hey, I got this pre-con. You want to play?" He said, "Sure, yes."
So I walked past this table, which is they're on one of the long tables.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then, you have 3 guys on one side, or 3 people on one side, and you have 3 people on the other. And Jay's moderating this whole situation. And I look over, and I see nothing but, like, this whole group of people screaming and yelling at each other in real time.
Yeah.
While Jay's going, no, no, no! No, that's not right. And then, like, there's all this, like, chaos happening.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm never playing that game.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ever play that game.
It is incredibly, like,
I can't handle it. I'll have a heart attack.
Some of the other ones, I think I did play the, what's the one where you mark off systems?
That is Engineer.
I think I've played the Engineer once.
I think you've played. I think
it's the third. It's the 4th one that's actually pretty fucking easy.
Oh, the first mate. Yeah, that's the 3rd station.
Yeah. Never got to play that
here's
one.
the first mate. Okay. Whenever the captain moves, mark something on your board. Okay. That's all you do.
Yeah.
That's all you do.
That's never got to play that motherfucker. Never got to play that motherfucker. I was always having to do the hard shit.
Well, that motherfucker
You're
never
the
gets
brains
the,
of the operation.
that guy never gets the glory though.
Oh man, yeah.
he gets shit on when like torpedoes need 3 marks. It's like we got him. Fire the, and then they look over at the torpedoes and like, oh, it wasn't completely readied, sir.
Yeah.
What? We're a submarine. All we do is torpedoes.
Yeah. Because the one guy is marking off systems that are down now, and the other guy is marking systems that are ready. And you're trying to get shit ready to do what you
and
need,
hope that it's not down.
Yeah, and hope that it's not down. Yeah, that one's interesting because again, it's that real time with that, so you're racing them. Like I think the only thing that even compares to that is what was it? Space Cadets Dice Duel.
Yeah, that one's not hidden movement because you know where everybody is on the other side. But
it's the same thing where people are sectioned off.
You have the ability, like you mark something on it, so you make your choice and mark it here. Okay, that's fine. In Space Cadet Dice Duel, where the hidden movement's gone, you know where they exactly are. You have to get dice to roll right for you.
Yeah, you're picking up rolling dice. Oh shit!
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Oh, I can put this one right here. Okay, good.
It's competitive team speed Yahtzee.
Yeah. So
Sounds
yeah,
like Galaxy Trucker.
Sounds funny.
yeah. Except I actually wouldn't mind playing Space Cadets Dice Duel.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Fucking hate Galaxy Trucker.
I fucking hate Galaxy Trucker too. But
sounds
none of these are hidden
amazing.
movement games.
Right, yeah, you're right.
I think
top Galaxy Trucker's top 10 all time for me.
That
But
is
that's
so far down
Can't stand
I know.
it.
No, I know.
because that's randomness and real time. That's two,
I will at least I'll reach along the aisle for this. To me, that's not a game; it's an activity. But it's an activity that has a score to it, so you can call it a game.
Oh man,
I will say it's funner than Betrayal because you're always doing something.
yeah. The game is never broken, at least there. But yeah, so none of these are hidden movement games.
There are many board games that bring us all.
You should just stop. There are many board games.
There are many
There
board
are many
games.
board games. Yes, there are
I
many
feel like
board
there's
games
something
that give
we're
us
leaving off, but I think
entertainment.
there
covered-
is.
we covered.
I mean, we could have talked about Nuns on the Run.
I haven't played
I've
that.
only played that once, so I can't.
Legend of the Scorpion Clan.
Haven't played that.
Which some people tell me.
Oh yeah, that's
That
that's
was an AEG. That was an AEG. It was based off of.
Oh, okay. I've never played that one.
yeah.
Then. No. Yeah, the other one was kind of like it was like the Game of Thrones game light. That I'm thinking.
Oh, I
of.
know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
But yeah, I never played that one.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking
Scorpion
about
Clan.
Battle for Rokugan.
Yeah.
Which I like Battle for Rokugan. That's
Yeah.
another one that I wish we could get on the table more. Not hidden movement though.
Yeah.
Ethan, close us out.
Yeah, there's many board games that bring all of us entertainments. Me, myself, hidden movements. It's just another form of entertainment with some extra spice to it. Yeah, Minor Management, Scotland Yard, Whitechapel, Galaxy Truckers. No, that's not it.
Yeah. That's not one.
I want to play
all of them.
I want to play hidden movement Galaxy. Here's how you do it. You know the tiles. You don't look at them.
Oh,
you just
yeah.
just put it on the board and see what ship you've got at the end. And then go at it from there.
Since we brought up
That's
Galaxy
not,
Trucker,
that's
I'm
not
gonna
too fucking far.
bring back the old classic of Trajan.
I wouldn't mind playing some more Stefan Feld games.
Trajan is good.
I want Stefan Feld to do a hidden movement game where there's 50 different ways to score points and it all involves hidden movement.
That would be if he could do that. That would
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
If any of these games interest you, just pick one, play it.
Are we
You'll
doing an
probably
Amazon
hate it.
plug? What?
Don't buy anything from Amazon. You
anything from
might
Amazon.
only get part of what you ordered.
Yeah.
Instead, order from Matt Kenobi Gaming.
No,
Yeah.
right to the plug.
Cameron Spanier, the sole owner and proprietor, god of gaming,
God Emperor.
God Emperor of
Emperor,
gaming.
Gaming.
Yes. If you're interested,
He sits on the golden throne.
That's a
Powers the
card. That's a
Astronomicon.
card.
A lifeless husk, a carrion god, upon which all of humanity is subservient.
I like how the Golden Throne exists both in Warhammer and in Magic the Gathering now because it's a magic
now
card.
It all
Yes.
matters.
So
yeah.
is blood for the
It
blood
was
god.
really
yeah.
it was really hard looking for mutilith vortex beasts and constantly coming up with the fucking card. It's like, I don't want the 99-cent card. I want the fucking $100 model, motherfucker.
No, fuck it. Field and Army, but it's the magic cards.
I need to just get a base,
Yes.
120 millimeter base, and just glue the card on top of
there.
it.
I saw some.
No, you save the card that way. So you get like one of those gator clips and
Yeah.
glue the gator clip on, and then you put the card in the clip, and then just move it. Boom!
I saw-
Oh my God, we've hacked it.
I saw this.
We fucking
Now I
hacked
want
it.
to do this for all. Just get a whole bunch of Magic 40K shit and just put it all on bases and be like, here's my army.
There's a complaint I saw online where like people were looking for wedding rings and the fucking One Ring card kept popping up in Google.
That's funny.
Oh, imagine like it's like you're at the altar.
Yeah, you pull out
It's
a
like
card.
your wife hands you mad, but he's like, no.
Hold on.
And like it's a fucking
It's a
CCG
card.
graded the one
ring.
The one
and,
of one ring.
and either she knows what it means and she's like, I've picked the right one,
Right.
or she's like, what the fuck, and she like cracks it open and rips it in front of everybody, and all your nerd friends have heart attacks and strokes and die.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, if you are presenting the one ring, and I said one twice for a reason.
Yeah.
Yes.
The serial numbered 001 ring that's worth $2 million. I hope there's a prenuptial agreement involved in your marriage.
Yeah.
There better be post,
Pre-post.
like current nuptial, like at the wedding, you have to agree to this shit.
Whether it's Warhammer, Magic, or even Pokemon.
They got Leviathan boxes if you want those.
Yeah.
Yeah, you better pick it up. Those shits are hard to find right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mackinac Gaming in Goshen, Mississippi.
Yeah, if you don't want to pay like $500 for one on eBay, come down here. They're only $250, which
That's
is
a steal.
which is regular market
Which is
price.
regular
Right.
market value.
If you
yes.
actually want all 4 commander decks from the Lord of the Rings, come to Mackinac Gaming.
If they have any,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they keep
Or-
selling out of them.
Or if you just want one and
Yeah.
just have it come to
Yeah.
you in a completely unplayable situation.
Yeah.
Come to Mackinac Gaming.
They've got several new RPG systems.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I fucked up and I forgot to buy Into the Odd, and
Okay.
somebody else bought it.
Oh,
I was up here Sunday. I was like, oh shit, I forgot to, and then I went up there and they didn't fucking have it.
Wasn't someone going to pick up Cult?
Yeah, Jason was.
Holder said he was.
All right, cool beans.
Brady, give a plug.
Yeah. So Michael Hill and Jason Holder, who I just mentioned, they have a podcast called Whiskey and Wrestling, where they. If you're listening to this, you fucking know. They drink some whiskey. They talk about wrestling. Is wrestling shit right now? Probably.
Complain about
I'll be honest. I think AEW is getting a little bit more hate than it really deserves. I think we're just kind of tired of shit. So like we're more sensitive to it.
I want them to push the people I like and not the people.
Well,
I
yeah,
don't.
of course, of course.
and not even from the like heel face situation. Like just I would like to see Orange Cassidy with the title because he is such a unique fucking person.
Well, I mean, he's on the fucking, like, he's got the best title run in all of AEW ever
That is
right
true.
now.
That
I'm
is very
tired personally of story angles that didn't end 3 months ago properly, and them trying just to close it out on a random match in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
That
I
made
mean,
no
there are
fucking
frustrating
sense. That
things
makes no
about
fucking sense.
wrestling right now. But, you know, AEW doesn't have Vince McMahon, so there is that.
There is that.
There is that.
The
There is
one
that.
pro.
Yeah.
One pro.
That's a
That's a
pretty
big one.
fucking big
Yeah,
pro.
That's a big one.
That's a pro.
Yeah, that's a big
That's
pro.
pro squared.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, if you want to hear some people talk about wrestling, maybe sometimes you get some good solid analysis. Sometimes it's just they're complaining because it sucks, and sometimes it does suck. Sometimes you might be asking, why the fuck do they even watch wrestling if all they're gonna do is complain about it?
I thought you were going to go with it. Sometimes you get good analysis. Sometimes they're just fucking off. Like they just
Yeah, I don't always agree with them. So yeah, check them out if you like any of that stuff. They talk about liquor too. You know, it's not just wrestling. Listen to them because they need money, because Michael Hill just lost like almost all of his fucking reserves. So
that was one of
it was
the
a
hardest.
fucking tragedy.
That was depressing.
The
to
one
see.
true tragedy in
It was so bad that I thought of a joke about it, and I did not make the joke out of respect for Michael.
There you go.
That's how
you go.
serious it is,
That's
motherfuckers.
big.
That's
Yeah,
how
big right
serious
there.
it is.
Yeah.
I said, no, I will not make this joke. I will be respectful.
And then I made a joke last week about
Yes. I waited quite some time before I told Michael that joke.
Yes.
So yeah, check them out. That was a really long plug and unnecessarily long. We need to wrap this up.
That was a plug.
Somebody else go and be
That
quicker.
was a plug, the outlet,
Jody-
and the
Jody,
transformer
you can
got the electricity from.
Kevin Gallo and Kevin Shelton host a show called Silence Your Pokemon.
She said, "Silence your rooster."
Sometimes they play the unofficial Red Letter Media Cyberpunk Red / Pokédex. Debbie Does Dallas Movie Patrol, the unofficial board game.
Joking?
I didn't think we'd get a worse plug than what I just did, but here we are.
Jared Hubbard and Kevin Shelton.
It's not even that fucking late. We can't even blame it on that.
Blame
a
it
show
on
called
the
Silence Your
rain.
Cell
It
Phones.
was
It's only
falling.
11 o'clock right now.
Sometimes
We're an
they
hour
talk about
early.
movies and TV shows, and sometimes they stream on YouTube. You should check them out. Silence Your Cell Phones on all of the plugs.
Jody Kite stole my bit. He also has a podcast. It's called Fearology. Listen to it. There you go. That's it.
Yep, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Jay, would you like to shout out the Twitch plugs?
The Twitch plugs. Okay, so we're gonna Kevin Shelton is Ronan Roostic Man at RonanRoosted.net. You can catch him on IRC channels, and you can tell him to go to the Pine Barrens, and he'll do it.
Yeah,
and
that's internet chat relay for
yeah,
you.
that
There's
might
a 50% chance that after July 1st, you can't go to that website.
What? What are we talking about?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Are they pulling IRC down? What the fuck?
No, the fucking in Mississippi, they're making it to where you can't watch porn unless you put in your driver's license after July 1st.
Censored.
Please cut all this.
I'm gonna dust off the DVDs and just say fuck it.
Pornhub now requiring an ID verification.
No, you can't even get on the Pornhub
No.
What?
Put Pornhub.com right now, and they're going to be like, yeah, because you're in Mississippi, we're just shutting this down right now.
In the arms of the
Yeah, so pray for Mississippi. There's going to be a lot of
away from here.
I'm pulling hosting.
it's going to be a lot of
I'm
blue.
gonna be with this,
There's going to be a lot of blue balls.
We're coming into the
Man,
station.
DVD sales of porn have
We're coming
gone up
into
in
the
like the
station.
past 5
No,
minutes.
No, it's just everybody's gonna get a fucking VPN now.
Yeah.
I'm ending
From
this.
the wreckage
I'm Ethan Skinner.
of a silent reverie.
I guess I'm Jody Kite.
We're going to owe Sarah McLaughlin so much fucking money.
That's because I am Sarah McLaughlin.
Oh shit! What the
She
fuck?
revealed herself. She's been here the whole time.
Oh god!
I hid movement in here. Look at these dead dogs.
I'm calling it. Thank you for
Block
listening
him!
to us.
Block him!
Thank you
Don't
for
let him do
listening
it!
to us.
Get him away from it! Get him away from it!